fucking name!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Patreon, Ko-Fi, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a very quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Chris Wouters, Mr. Amish, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wassel, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMails24, Unimento, M, Iron26, Eric Troche, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Level Plain Poem, Canna Bear, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
He was under attack for saying that it was an embarrassment to the Christian community.
What was an embarrassment to the Christian community?
The video that he came out with that we went over.
On Friday?
And we said that yes. The article's in Master B.
What's his name?
It's a long article.
Justin Peters?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember this
He's
guy.
a well-known, yeah, it's crazy. We just, 10th man sent it. The post.
Theologian Justin Peters embarrasses the entire Christian community with false heretical claims. Okay. By Genesis Man. Who's Genesis Man?
It's the first time I ever heard of him, but he's I guess a guy, I don't know. But it's in articles. I guess he writes for them, maybe. I don't know.
Just having a quick scan read. Okay.
Yeah, it says that through from creation on, it doesn't say anything about a globe rotating or anything like that.
Yeah, pretty much the stuff that we criticised him for then.
Yeah, that's why, I guess that's why 10th Man sent us this post. So we're over the target. I can't read it because I'm driving, so I'll read it later though, but I know it's very long.
Yeah, we can go through it. I'm sure we can go through it. Although we did cover it on Friday, and we have probably covered everything that particular person's covered, so... Or at least I'd hope.
Right.
But interesting all the same.
Yeah, so 10th Man is keeping up with us. He knows, I guess when he has the time, he watches our stuff. Keeping up with us. It's heartbreaking what's going on. It says that it's very aggressive, the cancer.
Yeah.
And
That's crap.
So my brother's wife is going in today to remove something on her knee, and then they got to check because she has a growth in her lungs. So I don't get it, man. It's all the technology we have, and we can't find anything to. Let's not get into that, right?
No, we shouldn't really be discussing Tenth's personal affairs on a show.
I'm talking about my brother and the whole cancer thing. Just saying, all these years, it's not like they're making any progress.
How you doing, guys? Sorry,
Very
I had
well.
myself muted and deafened there.
Hello, Jin.
Who's that, Jen?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right, Neil. It's Jin here. How you doing?
Good, very good.
Yeah, you're in good voice. Last last week in the Earth Awakenings channel there, you were really sticking it to them. And Nathan Oakley just totally fried bacon, and put him in a sandwich. It was good.
That Nathan Oakley guy, he's pretty good, right, Jen?
Oh, he's right on the money. Right on the money.
What do you make of the opposition
Right
we're currently getting from our own side, Jin?
Yeah, that's absurd as well. I totally agree with you, mate. Don't worry. Stick to your guns. You're holding up a standard which can only be summoned as stalwart, and we need that at this time. So please carry on. So carry on. It's entertaining. It's informing. It's enlightening. It's a healing balloon, is what it is. Thank you.
Jolly good.
Yeah, I second that.
Yeah. I was just in the Gem Panda server actually, and I got them in disarray because they're talking about the Coriolis effect. So I reminded them of the challenge that's out there by Flat Earth Sherman back in 2016, put down a $20,000 challenge for anyone to come on. He's a US Marines weapon expert himself. So he's put down the challenge for anybody who thinks the Coriolis is a thing to come to him with your $20,000, bring your legal representative. He has his legal representative. You sign your documents, you put your monies in the safe, and then you go off and prove it. It should be like taking candy from a baby. That challenge hasn't been taken up yet. You see? So they were arguing that the challenge is kind of like iffy. They said there's nothing iffy about the challenge. It's in the public domain. All you got to do is bring your money. If you're so sure, bring your money and go and do the challenge. Hurry up while you're waiting.
What's the challenge? To show two separate reference frames?
Absolutely. With your rifle. He will give you the direction and the coordinates to shoot at, and you got to hit the target and then quickly change a different direction and get yourself ready and shoot again. Because if it's a thing, you should be well versed at it. Get on with it. That challenge has not been taken up. 2016, it's been there.
I mean, I'm glad the challenge exists because it means I can make my example, which is to say that if somebody suggests that they can take that challenge on and prove it to win the 20 grand, so they show or claim to show that Earth turns underneath the bullet after it's left the barrel of the gun. That would mean that Earth turns underneath the bullet after it's left the gun. So Earth's turning underneath stuff then. So Earth's turning underneath aeroplanes and helicopters and hot air balloons and drones and me if I jump up and down because it turns under the bullet. If it turns under the bullet, it turns under everything. And it doesn't.
And that's exactly what I said to the YouTube live stream listeners, because I call them the jury, because I use them because they're the ones that need to hear both sides of the story. That's always been my tactics for the last 5 years in that server. And I always refer to the live stream as the jury. You've heard what they said. That means when aeroplanes are flying through the air, they've definitely got to be landing on moving runways. Because if it's moving under the bullet, then it's definitely going to be moving under the aeroplane whilst that aeroplane is in flight. Envisage a bullet and an aeroplane side by side. So there's no difference there. And you know what I keep saying? But the aeroplane is being controlled. No, it's not. It's just going forward. Automatic pilot. Okay? Thank you.
Jen,
God.
the problem is they don't know what
I
the...
got kicked out.
Yeah, they don't know what the effect is. Because if they're to say, well, the plane's under controlled flight, okay, the Coriolis effect is an illusion observed as you turn underneath stuff. So if you're saying we're not observing the illusion in the plane, you're not supposed to observe the illusion in the plane. It's an illusion. It's not really happening. It's you turning underneath stuff to see it seem to drift. That's what Coriolis is. If they claim, and they do, that globe has Coriolis effect, it's going to be effect described from the ground as you turn underneath stuff. So they're claiming Earth turns underneath bullets. Okay, well then Earth turns underneath the aeroplane. So it seems to drift. Doesn't really drift. It's an apparent effect. But if it's seeming to drift because Earth's turning underneath it, then Earth's turning underneath it. It is that simple. It isn't. It doesn't. Earth's not turning.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And then the other problem that they had with me when I was talking to them was the outgassing of film in a vacuum. Okay. Now my Japanese student here, for I am in Japan talking to you from Japan. This morning I was giving a lesson. She was more interested to hear about how film is affected in a vacuum. So I linked her to the Apollo detectives, where they conducted an experiment 4 hours in 10 to the minus 3 tour vacuum chamber that they had, 4 hours, and the film was indeed destroyed. Okay, so I happened to mention that to Jem Panda and that. And Scott Veach, who's in there now, the findings from the Apollo detectives, and they said I was lying. No, because I've given you the links. I've given you the avenue for which you can follow this up. And they also put a challenge to anyone. They've said that if you think what we've done here is incorrect in any way, shape, or form, we challenge you to prove us wrong. Do the experiment yourselves and bring us your results. Because Jen Panda is asking, how do we know we can trust them? Look at the question they ask, man.
Who
Isn't that
cares?
not
I mean,
absurd?
no offense to them. Whether or not we can trust them is irrelevant. We can't have gas pressure without containment. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we're breathing would fill that availability of volume. It's a law of nature. So regardless of what someone says about how the films would work in an imaginary place they say is a vacuum, if the sky was a vacuum, we'd all be dead. We'd have no gas to breathe because the gas would fill that space.
Exactly. This is what I said to them. That, I have no reason to not trust them. you know? And if I'm not satisfied, I am actually being challenged to replicate that for myself so I can see for myself. So why don't you go and do that, Jem? And then you'll prove to yourself how NASA could never have gone to space. Okay, why don't you do that,
Sure, but there is no space. My point, Jin, is that if for the sake of argument, the rhetoric said that the sky was water as opposed to a vacuum.
Okay.
Yeah? And then they say, look how this camera works in water. Yeah? And you say, well, why don't you go and do it for yourself? Well, because then you're working on the premise that the sky is actually water, by juxtaposition in my example, right? But the sky isn't water.
I understand that.
And it's not a vacuum.
Yeah, we can't go there, basically, ladies and gentlemen. It's what's been
it's
said.
not that
and
we
that's
can't
what
go
I've said
there.
all along.
There is no there. There is no sky vacuum.
Yeah. We can't go there. That's right.
It's akin to
That's
Narnia.
what we've been saying all along.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
they're
it
saying
is Narnia,
they're saying this is
You missed
Narnia,
it, Jen.
and we go to Narnia, and we say, no, Narnia violates the law of nature. And they say, well, and then one of us flat earthers comes along and says, well, let's just go along with the idea that we could have a vacuum in the sky, and we'll show how it doesn't work. Like, no. The idea that we have a vacuum is a violation of natural law, gas fills space. That's the end of the discussion. There's no need to show what vacuums do. In the same way, I don't need to show how cameras work underwater because somebody out there's claiming the sky is water. It isn't.
So they're still seeing in Gem Pandas, I see they haven't progressed at all.
No, they haven't. You see, and that's the point is, I'm not really concerned whether they do or not, because we know they are disingenuous and they're pushing out misinformation. But then the people who come along in the YouTube live stream, whom I call the jury, they need to hear our side of the story all the time, so they can then begin to discern. That's why I go there. I don't go there to really battle them. I just want to get the information out to the listeners in the live stream. That's my main objective.
See, Jen,
I'm like a rugby player trying to get it to the touchdown. Sorry, say that again.
Sorry, Jen. I used to go
No,
there.
Go ahead.
And at M. Scott Beach, he claimed that science, that's the basic science, the QE science, but science has developed, and you got to keep an open mind, and it's constantly changing. So they don't even know what science is. So I stopped going there.
Well, as Nathan Oakley has termed it, it's pseudoscience, isn't it? It's pseudoscience dogma at the end of the day, because that's what they're dealing with over there. We know this, but the unsuspecting listener will be falling into the trap because they do deliver it with the official English language. Then people are easily gullible. So when they hear me speak now and we highlight the anomalies, and then I say, yes, you, the listener, pay attention because I'm talking to you. You don't know what I'm telling you about. And if you do, then well done. But if you don't, go and do the research. That's when you're going to find out that all is not what it seems when it comes to the Apollo missions or the shape of this earth for that matter. So that's why I go there. I go there to needle them, but get into the actual listeners and deliver that. Like I said, I'm like a rugby player trying to get the ball over to the touchline,
Very good.
Score a try. That's, yeah.
Yeah, very good. More power to you. Sounds like you got all the arguments pegged, so great.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Nathan. Yeah, it's nice because here, you know, we all know what's going on, and you deliver a great product on that, and people who are listening are learning, at great speeds. Over there now, it's all confusion. So some of us flat earthers, we go in there and we bring in standards. We establish standards. Sometimes we have to fight for it. I mean, I required like 2 minutes to articulate. They don't want to give me that, but I still go for it. You get muted, come back, get kicked out, we come back. So, that's what we do, and we keep on doing that. Be a thorn in their side. They get exasperated. I laugh, and I win every time. I don't
So
lose.
old Jen Panther uses that mute button, huh? And he blames Nathan for muting people.
Yeah, as Nathan Oakley calls it, the fundamental, what do you call it? Fundamental? Mentally, fundamentally, I said, you know what I said? He has got the most polished mute button on earth, that guy.
Who, Jem?
No, he's talking about you. Oh, the funding mute button.
Yeah, that's right. And Gem Pandas is the most polished one there is. But I go in there sometimes, I say, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared. Gem Panda is going to need a new mute button today because I'm sure he's going to be breaking it. Yeah. So we know what to expect, and we still deliver the goods.
If you've got a handle on Coriolis, you can have
So
an
yeah, they're exasperating now.
I was just going to say, if you've got a handle on Coriolis, Jin, then you've got a handle on everything. Because as far as I'm concerned, that is the most complicated subject in this arena. Bar none. I can't think of a more complicated subject.
Yeah, thanks.
Again?
Yeah. And because I was in the army myself, I mean, it was a shock to hear it back in 2015, the Coriolis effect. I thought, what the hell? And I'm learning that in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, if you were aboard, that is, ladies and gentlemen, that the toilet water drains off in opposite directions. Oh, come on.
This is a red herring. It's a non sequitur, not related to the claim. So Coriolis is a not actual deflection as you turn underneath things. The way a water swirls down a drain has got nothing to do with apparent deviation observed as you turn beneath things, which is the effect they're claiming.
Yeah. So that one knocked me for six as well. I said, Bob, people are believing anything these days. Wow. That was back in 2015, 2016. So I got my head around it a long time ago, and I'm thankful for that. Luckily I was in the army as well. So that just sped things up because we never had to account for any of that.
Yeah,
and yet they're reading.
It's a good foundation. You've got a foundation that says this doesn't happen. So let's look into what they're saying happens. Yeah. And when they say it happens, what they actually do is say it happens and then make apologies for why it doesn't happen. That's what they actually do.
Yeah, exactly. And they have these books, these citations and manuals that state that they do that. And they asked me, how do you explain that? I said, that is a perfect case of deception there, ladies and gentlemen. The book there is there to deceive you and keep you invested on a globe ball. That's why that is there. Purely that reason only.
That's where I would differ in my argumentation style. Just, you don't have to take this on board.
Oh, go on.
You do you, but what I would do in that circumstance, if they presented me a book, obviously this is going to be difficult for you, ex-army, having shot guns and not account for Coriolis effect. But I would say, okay, so the gun says, there's two references, the book says the gun when fired will experience a deviation, apparent deviation, as you turn beneath it. Okay, so Earth turns underneath the bullet for us to see it appear to drift. Then Earth turns underneath aeroplanes and Earth turns underneath helicopters for us to see them appear to drift, like you say in the bullet does. So take their example and hold them to it. Because the first thing they want to do in a Coriolis argument is deviate away, excuse the pun, from their own original claim. Their original claim, Earth turns underneath as a second reference frame. That's it. That's their claim. The moment you show it doesn't happen, they'll say, we wouldn't expect it to happen. Earth and atmosphere are moving together. The plane is powered. In other words, apologise for why it's not happening. Who's off mute? Causing feedback, whoever's not on mute.
That'd be me, sorry, Jim.
It's all right. It's fairly standard with you, Jim. You've got your speakers right next to you, Mike, I think. Anyway, hold them to it. Okay. Earth turns underneath the bullet as a second reference frame. Okay. Then Earth's a second reference frame turning underneath stuff that's not attached to it, like aeroplanes and helicopters and drones and me if I jump up and down. Does that happen? No. So what are you going to do? Explain why an effect that can only be described as you turn beneath things isn't happening. There's only one conclusion. It isn't happening. Because it isn't. We'd notice planes would have their flight time shortened if Earth turned underneath them, as is claimed to happen under the bullet. So because they'll try and deviate away from their original claim the moment you show it isn't happening, hold them to it. Okay, Globe says Earth turns underneath bullets, therefore Earth turns underneath aeroplanes. It is that simple. When they say, well, the aeroplane's powered, it's got sod all to do with what the aeroplane's doing. It's only an effect that's observed as you turn beneath. So for the effect to happen, you must turn beneath. And we don't. That's the end of the argument. We don't turn underneath. We haven't got a Coriolis effect to demonstrate. Therefore, we haven't got a proof that Earth's turning, because there is no effect to observe. And when you point out that there isn't an effect to observe, they'll apologise for why there isn't an effect to observe when there's claimed to be 2 reference frames, demonstrated with a Coriolis deviation that we're not seeing. Because the plane's powered. Yeah, that's not relevant when we're supposed to see it as we turn beneath. And if we're not seeing it, it's not happening.
Yeah, absolutely correct. So just stand your guns and reaffirm what you've stated correctly at the beginning, and that tidies up everything else. Yeah. So yeah, I like to highlight the fact that there is a deception going on, and that's one of the tactics that they use. You will find fraudulent books and statements even on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they're there. They're little potholes for you to fall into, because they're going to keep you invested in the idea that the Earth is rotating. They have to. They have to lie. So thank you very much, Nathan. That was excellent. And yeah, I'll remember that tactics. I do that anyway, but I'll just do it even more.
Yeah. Like I say, that's about as complicated as it gets, and you can't, even my summary took 5 minutes. Did you catch yesterday's show?
Another anomaly.
Oh, go on.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to carry on the
I was
conversation.
going to say another anomaly.
Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. I was going to say another anomaly was that I learned from, who was that now? Marcus Allen and Scott Henderson, that in order for NASA to contend with the radiation with their film, they had to take several precautionary measures. They didn't take any. One of them would have been having a cool box to put the film in. And the temperatures would have to have been minus 196 degrees Fahrenheit, which is in Celsius, minus 126 degrees Celsius, cooler box to put the film in. But then when you do that, what happens to the film? The film becomes chilled and then becomes brittle. So there was no way they could do that. You see, there's another problem right there. How did they manage? If they said they went, how did they manage to protect the film in that way? Because they didn't do that.
Yeah.
That would have been a requirement.
Well, I agree with you. I wouldn't use that argument personally, because then you're into, well, if we all in this discussion now beg the question that there is a sky vacuum, and now we can discuss, now we all understand that there could be or may not be a sky vacuum, then we'll discuss how it may or may not work. Nah, my attitude is just debunk the sky vacuum. Then any claims that come from the sky vacuum are automatically fake. If I debunk the area of above our heads being an area of volume that gas is not filling, violating natural law, that debunks space travel. That's it. That's the end of their claim. Because that's what they're claiming, isn't it?
Yes, that's what they're claiming.
Yeah, without gas pressure, there's no containment.
Other way around. Without containment, there's no gas pressure.
There's no gas pressure. We've actually...
what did I say?
I do that.
You said without pressure, there's
no
containment.
That and shut them down.
You just said it the wrong way around, Neil. It's fine.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but don't worry
Maybe I
about
should
it.
go to doctor today.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I do shut them down. I actually do shut them down using that method.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that. QE can do that. You don't get to do that.
I was gonna say, because Jin's got coming here with this freaking 2015 stuff, I'm saying things backwards.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking you, Jin, right? Just to be clear, I appreciate that as you're out on the circuit, which is what you've said you're doing this, or where you're doing this, or how you're doing this, that is what you'll get. You'll get the 2015 arguments put to you. So you overcoming them in the way that you're overcoming them. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not how I would do it.
No. And I do apply those tactics that you do. I do shut them down, and then other times I might entertain it just to bring out the hideousness of their position, so that the listener can begin to discern how to evaluate and make a coherent decision. Sorry, that's the reason I do that, obviously, because you've got to break it down for the layman and laywoman as well. Okay, and that's what I try to do. Just and it's important so they get a fuller understanding of what's going on, how the deception is working.
And more power to you.
And that, yeah, no, what I
Chocolate
appreciate
likes doing that too, though.
you're
Chocolate don't mind hanging around in space. I guess to each his own. But I know you know everything, Jin.
Yeah, cheers, man. Yeah, I'm hitting them with all sorts of facts, numbers, quoting the experts. I'm not. When I go in there, I do not give them a theory, an opinion, or a supposition or speculation. I just deal with the facts according to the experts as it's been laid down, and these are the questions that come out gassing from all the information. So please address these points. The question still stands. They say like I don't know if you remember the documentary called The Convexed Earth. The Brazilians that spent 7 years proving that the Earth isn't a globe. They are staunch provers. Their words were, "We cannot believe that the Earth isn't a globe." It would go against thousands of years of knowledge, information, and evidences. Okay, they all became flat earthers after 7 years anyway.
Hold on, what's that
But
noise?
Jen Panda asked
Hold on.
me a
I can hear
question.
something. What's that? Is that a rustling from the bushes? Is it Beeloo? It is. It's Beeloo.
Yes, that's it. That's it, right? That's it. That's the argument, Nathan. They said that these guys talk about Bilu, and then one of them was a criminal, did something fraudulent. Now, the day I watched this documentary, I had no idea of Bilu, nor does it matter. And I didn't know about his criminal tendencies. So they said, how can you trust these people when when the leader was a criminal, he did some fraudulent behavior back in the past?
Oh, right,
I said,
right. Back
"Jen
at you,
Panda, let me
lads.
tell you something."
Oh, right. That's very interesting. So when it comes to the criminally violent, like Fight the Flat Earth, convicted violent woman beater, yeah? Should we not trust him because he's a convicted criminal? Or should we just go based on his arguments and take those apart? It's not really enough to just attack the man. But that's what they'll do. All right, no worries, right back at you. You've got a criminal amongst you. Yeah, Craig, Fight the Flat Earth.
Yeah, there you go. So I said, ladies and gentlemen, listen up. I said, these guys could have murdered all your children. Okay, it doesn't take away from the fact that they proved that the Earth isn't a globe. Okay, they used the correct methodology. You see the integrity on display, and they proved the Earth is not a globe. They proved it was flat. Okay, so basically, what are you saying? What's it got to do with the murdering of all the children? Separate situation, nothing to do with what they were doing here. And I still would trust them from what they did there. So
It's
not that
not
they
about
murdered
trust,
any
though, is
children.
it? It does their argument
Yeah,
stack up, or doesn't it?
facts.
That's not relevant to the man
Yeah.
that gives you the information. It's totally irrelevant, in fact.
Yes, exactly. It is totally relevant. It's the results from their findings, and I always say that they displayed impeccable integrity, second to none. It's breathtaking. It's uplifting to see how they used the equipment. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, everything they did, you can go and do it for yourself. You may not need to buy the equipment. All you would need to do is rent it. If you've got the time, you can replicate, and then you'd know for yourself. There you go.
Can
Are you-
somebody fill
challenge
me
out
in
there.
what this Beelo is?
Beeloo's an alien. So these people that did the Convex Earth video, that's about an hour long, they also produced material where they're talking to an alien called Beeloo behind them in the bushes. Beeloo in the bushes, right? Well, that was part of their rhetoric prior to Flat Earth, and that was what got focused on by our opponents. Look, these guys believe in aliens. Like, Okay? How does that in any way change what they've put forth in their video? The answer, it doesn't.
That's exactly what I said. It doesn't take away from the integrity that they displayed in proving that the Earth isn't a globe. And remember, these
Gotta
individuals
be
at the
careful.
beginning.
You're using words that are objectionable. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
your phraseology makes it seem, in terms of their credibility as individuals, it doesn't take away from their credibility. Yeah, it does. Yeah, talking to an alien in bushes definitely takes away from the individual's credibility, but not the argument. The argument is the bit that you focus on, not the credibility of the person that's giving you the argument. And if you say talking to an alien in bushes doesn't take away from their credibility, yeah, it does.
Yeah, what I meant to say doesn't take away from the credibility of the work that they did, is what I meant to say.
The credibility of
Yeah,
their
the
argument. I
results.
just don't like the word.
Yeah,
Credibility
their
means
argument.
something specific to the man.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't take away from the.
The argument. Yeah.
Well, what I meant to say, well, it doesn't take away from the results that they established and the facts that they proved.
Yes.
Simple
Exactly.
as that, really.
It doesn't change the facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't change the facts or the results that they have delivered to the public.
Meanwhile,
Okay. With
Hey,
the
Jin,
go on, Neil.
Yeah. Yeah. Go on, Neil.
I just want to. You're a school teacher in Japan.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I am still.
What class do you teach?
Well, I'm teaching elementary school children, third grade up to sixth grade, or third year up to sixth year, junior high school, first year up to third year, and then high school students, third grade up to, first grade up to third grade. And then I do privately
Wow.
university students, businessmen, businesswomen, old age pensioners, if you will, and people who want to travel to England or Australia, America on holiday, things to prepare for. That's what I do. Yeah.
Now, how does that affect you with the reality that you know? How does that
Oh, it's been absolutely marvelous, because some of my, like, take this morning's student. She was interested to learn about how the film is affected by the vacuum. So they're interested, obviously. The students that I've spoken to about flat Earth, moon landings, and various other conspiracy facts that have happened, they go on leaps and bounds. They love it. They embrace it. So
you're
I'm
allowed
fortunate.
you're allowed to break down flat Earth?
Well, what I do regarding flat Earth and the horizontality is that what I've done once or twice is ask the kids to draw a picture of the seaside, with the horizon, the seagulls, yachts on the ocean, people swimming, lying on the beach. And the best picture wins several pens that I bought from Hawaii at the time. I put that on the table. So these are the presents for the best pictures. So they all worked hard to do their pictures. And then on my board, I drew the curved horizon, is what I drew on my board, a curved horizon. Okay. And then when they finished, you could hear them sniggling and giggling in the background. And I asked them, why were they laughing? And even the teacher, they were laughing at my horizon because it wasn't level, they said. They said that was wrong. It's not curved. Then I pointed to the globe on the teacher's desk. I said, but are we not living on a globe? And then you could hear a pin drop. They just went dead quiet, started thinking. Okay.
You probably have
And then after like 40 seconds,
idea how much of an impact that has had on those kids.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew what I was doing. So what I did was I then said, you know what, kids, you're right. I am wrong. So I rubbed my picture out so they could see me scrubbing out my picture, so they knew that they were correct. You see, so subconsciously they know that their Earth is level. They just haven't connected it yet because the education is distracting them from the truth. There you go. So it's been good. That's how I do it. I bring it in stealthily, if you will.
I know that you're obviously out and about as opposed to watching the show, but are you familiar with the celestial navigation argument that we've been having for the last couple of years?
Yes, certainly am. It's been very interesting indeed, especially, I mean, you did it the other day with when you fried bacon and put him in a sandwich. Do you know what I mean? I mean, come on. Okay? With the sextant and everything. No, it's very much flat Earth. That's what it's proving. It's not proving globe in any way, shape, or form.
It's showing how we measure it.
Sextant itself.
How we measure Earth is
Yeah.
flat.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I remember last week when you were actually arguing the point, I dropped in you and QE with eggshells, that video, the sextant one, since 994 AD or whatever. I posted it in the server whilst you were busy debating. Yeah.
Cool.
That's a great video, that one. Do you know the video I'm talking about, Nathan?
I don't.
Oh, you don't know that? The sextant video with you and QE on it.
Which one?
Quantum Erasers on it. You're on it as well.
There's loads of them.
And yeah, okay, you've done loads of them. One of the ones I posted was the one sextant proving flat Earth since 994 AD. I think it was. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's a good one. Yeah.
You posted us. Is it just one where they've taken sections of what we talk about, or is it?
Yes, that's correct.
Post it. We'll have a look.
Yeah.
Post it in the chat, and hopefully one of the mods will stick it in Master B for me.
Okay, hang on a second. It's going to take me a little while to find it because it's not easily to hand. So let me see if I can do it this way.
Okay, no worries. Hey, John. I'll do a quick sound check.
Let me mute my mic.
John's obviously not at his mic. I was going to ask him if he's okay. He was that little bit more upset yesterday than he typically is. Anyone else pick up on that?
What was that? I didn't hear you.
John, refracted curvature was a little bit more testy yesterday than typically.
Oh, yeah. Yep, his voice goes up a couple octaves. It's real deep, you know?
Maybe we'll find out later.
Yeah, I was all up in my feelings.
Again?
I was all up in my feelings, wasn't I?
Was there a reason, or just one of those things?
Just a bad morning, I guess.
Fair enough. I can't even remember what the subject was now that's being discussed. Probably dip correction. Yeah, refracted horizons. It was refracted horizons for the latitude positions, if memory serves me.
Yeah, what's his name? Oh, I'm forgetting his name again.
Well, I've been trying to think on an eloquent way to put it. It's like we use elements from geometry and perspective and celestial navigation, but it is neither. Does that sound better than it doesn't conform to geometry?
I know you guys are racking your brains for it. You're racking your brains for the semantics of how best to describe what represents stars that don't change in angle as you raise up in height. Okay. But why? Why go to the extent to peg down linguistically what effects that we colloquially would describe as perspective or geometry aren't related to how the stars behave? In terms of how they do behave, we can describe that as a matter of fact, regardless of whether it's perspective based or geometry based. We know where the position below the star is at a given time because we've tracked the stars and their positions above the ground. Does that change in elevation angle when you raise? No, it doesn't. Well, that matter of fact doesn't need any further linguistics attached to it as far as I'm concerned. I'm not trying to demean the debate in that regard because, like anybody, you want a better method from the English language to convey what we're dealing with when we're dealing with the stars. But for me, I'm just like, why are we even concerned about this? It is what it is. It works and functions and has developed our maps. That's it. Whether it is or isn't perspective, does it matter? They do what they do. They move over positions above the ground that we've got on charts and maps. That's it. That's what they do.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do the stars obey our geometry?
No. What you would call
Okay, so
conventional
what's the
geometry,
problem?
no, they don't.
All right, that's it. Say it like that. Because that's what's true. That's what's happening. That's what we observe.
That's what we don't observe. When you say, do they fail to comport with our descriptions of geometry in a terrestrial sense? No, they don't. But that doesn't help you peg down what they
Right.
do or what they are, does it? Telling you what they're not.
What we observe is that they don't obey our geometry.
No, what we
The way
observe
you
is
say it, I like it.
no. We observe that the positions above the ground are tracked and logged and accurate, and we acquire elevation angles to those stars to navigate with them. That's what we know, and that's what is done. Telling people why it isn't perspective, I don't think is necessary. Now, I'm not going to stop the discussion when people try and summarize these things, because I'm sure at the end of it, it will bear fruit and we'll have a better explanation in English. But that's all we'll have, a better verbalization of something that is already set in stone and being utilized and has developed every map that we've ever used to navigate with. So, to me, it's like, why do we need to concern ourselves with what it is or isn't in terms of perspective or geometry? We don't. I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't discuss it, though. I'm not suggesting that's me trying to put the kibosh on it. Like, I now know what they do, and I am content with that. Now, if you say, well, would you call it perspective? Did I call it perspective? No. Well, is it geometry? Did I call it geometry? No. Well, if it's not geometry, why would we... I don't care why you now question it based on this linguistic rebuttal. Because they are still doing what they do. They're still being used in navigation. You're still measuring angles off a flat Earth for them. Doesn't matter what you say about how they are or aren't perspective or geometry. Matters not. They still function on a flat plane. The sky is and must be parallel with that plane for this to work. Those are all facts. Doesn't matter beyond that. That's it. That's the end of it as far as I'm concerned. And the same with when I say to Jin, more power to you if you want to go out and argue about how vacuums won't work with film. That's up to you. But I wouldn't necessarily use it. I would rather just debunk the entire notion of having a vacuum. Likewise, I can show how Earth's measured flat with the stars. I mean, if you ask me, well, why don't they obey our... I don't know why they don't do something. What they do is useful for knowing your position above the ground, because we know where the stars are above the ground. That's very useful.
But you'll have people come in and say it's not the ground.
Yeah, but it is the ground, isn't it? That's swiftly dealt with, like yesterday with Edinburgh. Well, it's not the ground when we're dealing with latitude. What's latitude? It's points on the ground. You know, these are swiftly dealt with when they tell us it's not the ground. I find that the most laughable and easy to overcome objection that I've had in 10 years.
Quick question about the stars, Nathan. Do they produce an analemma the same as the sun and the moon do?
No.
Thank you.
The sun and the moon have got very different patterns to the stars. They're all individual. Why'd you ask?
Because one of my bald-hard friends believes that that pattern is caused because of the 23.4 degree tilt. And that's what I said. Do the stars do it too? Because if the Earth's tilting, everything would do the same pattern.
23.4 degree tilt from where?
From a horizontal
gonna
plane of
measure that?
reference. I left the pause knowing that you would want to open your...
that measurement.
Yeah, I left the pause so that I knew John could get it in, because I typically talk through it when he opens his mic to say that, because it's his point. The axis, the 23 degrees, well, that's an angle measurement with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. You need a flat Earth to describe the axis.
I get that, but when you're talking to shill bald-hards, some of them just don't want to get it.
No. And that's where they'll project their indiscretions onto us when they just don't want to hear it. That's where they will shut us down, cut us out of the conversation if they're in control of it, and then accuse us of doing it.
Yep. I would still say it. Gonna need a flat earth for that. What'd you say, 23.4? What? How you getting that?
Yeah, it's a degree measurement of a flat plane, like everything to do with all star measurements. They're all described with respect to a horizontal plane of reference without exception. There are no exceptions to the flat earth that is required to detail what the stars are doing. And every aspect of globe that they've inserted in comes from those measurements. It's hints at it everywhere, like this degree measurement.
It's amazing when you think about it, right? Like everything. That's the origin.
Well, I wanted to talk about yesterday's show because it was quite useful, surprisingly, from a Dave McKeegan video, not for the reason you might expect. I've been trying to wrap my head around explaining how the transposition from the equatorial plane that you level your, in this case, equatorial mount to, and then measure angles, for example, to Polaris that you'll set into the tool. Yeah? When the glober then describes the angle that they've measured with a level tool, that is to say the head of the tool has moved about the axis that you leveled to a degree that you can mark off on the tool. Let's say it's Polaris, and let's say it's a 45 degrees, as that's what Dave McKeegan used as his example. That means that in reality, the tool's still on the level plane, and it's still level because you've leveled it, and it's pointing at 45 degrees to Polaris. That's what it actually means. What they then do is put the tool onto a protractor and say that the tool is sticking out from the protractor at 45 degrees. Very much not what is actually occurring in reality. To me, this is the segue I've been seeking. How do I explain to an audience that you measure the angle off a flat plane and then put the angle as though the tool that is measuring the angle, moving up and down from the horizon, that the tool itself is now the angle that you've measured? Well, Dave McKeegan has shown us that's how they do it. Now, in order for him to do it, it had to be very disingenuous and ignore the fact that you level the tool. In fact, he never even mentioned it. But when you understand that you have leveled the tool and that the head of the tool, pointing the camera or telescope, is pointing at the angle measurement with respect to that flat plane, and then you see him putting the tool itself at 45 degrees on a sphere, you can conceptualize, or I will eventually over time, create a way that people can easily conceptualize how that is taking the angle that the tool measures on a flat earth and making the tool the angle by putting the tool on the edge of a effective protractor that they call the globe. Well, Dave did it in his examples when he put the tool literally sideways onto a sphere surface, so that the 90 degrees at the equator, well, what's that? Well, in actual terms of what the equator forms, it's you pointing the telescope or camera at the horizon 90 degrees to the level tool, the tripod that it's sat on. That's what the equator is, minimum elevation angle measurement to Polaris. For them, they need the tool to be sticking out from the side of the globe at 90 degrees or 180 degrees at the equator. Why? Or 0 degrees or 180 degrees, I should say, at the equator. Why? Well, because they need the protractor of the angle measurement to be the surface. So your equatorial mount isn't moving around about a spherical surface. It itself is moving the angle to the star with respect to the flat plane you level the tool with. So you've got a really nice segue from measuring a flat plane, getting an angle with respect to that flat plane, to Polaris at 45 degrees, and then seeing Dave plonk the tool on the protractor at 45 degrees. No, it's still level. So yeah, useful. The equatorial mount is going to become that tool that is used to show how they've substituted an angle from a plane to being the angle measuring device sat on the top of the protractor that it's actually measuring through.
Yeah, but isn't it a dead giveaway how he's got it on the side of the freaking globe?
No, not until you know how it functions. If you just think you are on the top of a sphere, well, you're like, well, yeah, I appreciate that I'm always at the top of it, so blah, blah, blah. But in physical terms, the tool is leveled and the head moves to Polaris at 45 degrees. That's what actually happens. He's got the tool at 45 degrees. That's the point. Because then the tool is on the protractor, and the protractor becomes the globe. But you've still had to measure the angle. And to get it, you need the tool level. Well, those are the facts of the measurement, aren't they? I mean, Dave might think he can get away with just not mentioning that. Yeah, you're going to have me pointing out to you, aren't you? You know, and it's very, very troubling if you're the videographer that excludes a very specific setup detail and then goes on to explain how the tool that was leveled and will remain level actually sits sideways. No, you're taking the arc that the tool measures the angles through and suggesting that that is the place that the tool sat after you've measured it flat. But maybe if you just don't mention that you measured it flat, that you leveled the tool to the equatorial plane, if you just don't mention it, maybe the audience just won't know. Now, for Dave's audience, that's true, because they're thick. None of Dave's audience is going to actually go and Google how an equatorial mount works to check if Dave's left anything out. None of them are going to do that. They probably won't get through the first 4 minutes when he's boring the pants off them with talking about how cameras operate, rather than detailing the equatorial plane and the levelling of the tool that he excluded. He favoured talking about a boring camera and then moving to his sponsored segue. 6 minutes into the video, he's still not mentioned that you're levelling the tool. Now he's got the tool not level. So, you know, it's glaring. That omission was a terrible move by Dave. He should have slipped it in somewhere subtly. The fact that he hasn't is like, why has he not told you that? Does that not ring some alarm bells? Yeah, I would hope it does. And if it doesn't, then more fool you.
What a disgrace.
What's a
It's
disgrace?
backyard.
What's a disgrace?
Why am I the only one in G+?
That's okay. I've got 2 panels, Neil. If the G Plus panel was completely empty, it wouldn't matter. Only the other day, I've run
Guys are taking it too lightly. Everybody's sitting down.
I've run several
Go ahead.
members-only streams without anybody in the panel. So I originally asked Adam to stay at the end of the last members-only stream that was going out when QE did his live stream. I was testing my new graphics card drivers, and I ran for several hours without anybody in the stream. It didn't matter. Like 20 people in Discord. Hello, everyone of Discord.
Morning, Nathan. Neil.
Morning.
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 Let's do a couple of housekeeping questions. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
What's that?
Nobody going to answer him from Discord? Anybody got any ideas what we're
What's
talking about?
gravity?
No, clearly not, Neil. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Yeah, no gravity at all. No.
A bit slow on the uptake there, Jin, but fine. Go ahead. Ideally, the answer comes after the question and before the dead air. That's the ideal I'd like to happen.
How about we start all over again, Nathan?
Let's do that. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
What's that?
109 years ago, it was the mass-attracting mass force that held you onto a spinning water ball flying through a vacuum until it was debunked by Einsteinian, pseudo-Riemannian, fourth-dimensional space-time bending, which is not a force. There you go. Any single viable hypothesis. Ugh. After the question, before the dead air. If there's dead air, I'm going to step in with a new question. Go ahead, whoever that was.
That was me. I'm doing something. I'm sorry. I said it sounds like a story to me. Is there any evidence of this gravity? And how are they allowed to? How could you just change something that was taught in school for the longest time, and then you're going to tell me that they're just going to change it to a bending of a concept, and that was okay? Was everybody sleeping?
Not
I
only was
don't
it
get it.
not only was it okay, it wasn't changed in the schools and still isn't. School children are still taught Newtonian conceptual ideas that have been debunked 109 years ago of mass attracting mass and that creating a force of gravity holding you to the side of a spinning water ball. It also comes along, even if you are talking about Einsteinian rhetorics, with pseudo forces that are apparent. Therefore, they would say, well, therefore they're apparent, even though they're not forces. But the apparent force creates a downward vector for gas. Even though we don't experience that, it's a violation of natural law. Gas expands in all directions. Is there any evidence that we can have that gas pressure that we're all breathing without the necessary antecedent of a container for the gas to press upon?
No, without the gas pressure, there can be no containment.
Without the container, there can be no gas pressure.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Space is fake. So in the pre-show, Jim was explaining that in some of the discussions he's had on other servers, he's had to explain that the film cameras wouldn't work, the Hasselblad film wouldn't work, because the vacuum at minus 127 would destroy the film. It would get brittle. Well, to me, it's an argument we shouldn't necessarily be even engaged in, because the sky's not a vacuum. It's a violation of natural law to assert there's an area where cameras can take pictures from. So how the cameras might take pictures in an area that isn't real is, to me, whistling past the graveyard. Any evidence of the distance to the sun? Notice nobody's answering. Yet yesterday we were covering a Dave McKeegan video where he decided to strawman us with the general consensus of flat Earth and the heights to the sun, even though we don't claim them, and they claim 93 million miles. With flat Earth measurements in tow to get that distance. Specifically, a flat Earth elevation angle measurement to Polaris to give you a radial value for your sphere Earth. That would be a flat Earth measurement of an angle off a plane to Polaris to infer that the value you get comports with a spherical surface you just measured flat. Once you've got that spherical surface that you just measured flat, you can imply that a light in the sky called Venus, as Huygens did, has the same radial value as a spherical Earth measured flat. Once you have the spherical measurement of a radial value for an Earth that had angles producing it off a flat plane, you can superimpose that radial value onto Venus and apply Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion to give you the scale and therefore distance once you have one value. Prior to the assumption of Huygens that Venus has the same R value as Earth measured as a flat plane, you had no scale. You could slide the distances for the sun and moon to whatever you liked. Now it's fixed by Huygens. 93 million miles is your distance on a globe to your sun that you claim. But so you can hold up false straw men, you will say that we claim a height, and then you'll put a straw man model together that has also been derived from flat Earth elevation angle measurements to Polaris, converted onto a sphere using the circles of equal elevation, that's flat Earth circles based on the angles to Polaris, and then you'll roll that spherical projection out onto a tube that you can then cut flat, or project azimuthal equidistant, North Pole centric, and then say that that is our flat Earth model. A flat Earth angle measurement to Polaris projected onto a globe and then projected out using the latitude and longitude grid as a guide. Those systems have only come to fruition because we are measuring a flat Earth to get them. So, as John has said many times in the past, they need a flat Earth more than we do. Because that's where their globe notions come from. Any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
That's just silly. You can't have angles from curves.
But the entire heliocentric model is based on angle measurements to stars. Earth's measured flat. The globe requires it to be so, for you to believe that the curved surface that you think you're standing on is representative of a protractor and a tool that measured the Earth flat. Go on, whoever that was. Or not. So yesterday in Dave McKeegan's show that we covered, Dave McKeegan takes a principle of leveling a tool and measuring angles to stars with respect to a plane and simply omitted the fact that the tool requires leveling prior to use. Just ignored it completely. The fact that he's described elevation angle measurements in his video means at some level he appreciates that he's dealing with elevation angles. That's flat earth proof. But by not mentioning that he leveled the tool, he felt it was appropriate to show the tool sat sideways on a curved surface that would represent the angles the tool has measured, not the position that the tripod the tool is sat on is actually in. The tool remains flat. Very telling that Dave McKeegan left that out, and I want to rub it in permanently. Why wouldn't you mention that you have to level the tool? Would it because it doesn't quite work when you show it sideways on a sphere Earth, based on the angles you measured through when leveling the tool and taking angles to stars with respect to a plane? Is that why you didn't mention it, Dave? How embarrassing. How telling that you'd need to omit specific details about how the equatorial mount works. I wonder why. It's because Earth's measured flat with this tool. That's why. Otherwise, he'd have mentioned it, wouldn't he? He didn't, because it's a fact that destroys every principle he decided to lie about when he described that the actual angle measured with the tool is the position of the tool on the curve of a protractor he calls a globe Earth. No, Dave, definitely not. Next time, you might want to mention the specific detail that's mentioned in every single setup manual for every single tool that you're referencing that uses the celestial dome and the plane beneath it, known as the equatorial plane. It's an equatorial mount. What's the equator? Oh, what? A minimum elevation angle measurement to Polaris taken from a flat plane? That's what the equator is? Well, you'll need a flat plane for your equator. You'll need a flat plane for your equatorial plane. You'll need a flat plane to level your tool to that plane. But none of those details got mentioned, even though they're in the very specific setup of an equatorial mount. I wonder why he didn't include that. Very telling. Earth's measured flat. Dave has to omit specific details about how tools work so that he can infer that they're stood sideways on globes. How quaint. Yeah, check out yesterday's show. Go on. Is that Eli?
Yeah, that was me. I was doing. Where was I? You asked. Oh, just at Earth Awakenings, where they call modding just volume limiting versus actually listening to what people are saying. As a matter of fact, I got muted for making coffee, and I said, "Dude, I'm in the middle of talking while I'm making my coffee. Can't be that bad. Die slow." It's like, you know what? F it. I'm tired of your shit, and just mutes me.
Yeah, because you know why.
Well, he wasn't really being adversarial against me or anything, but I just as a mod, like, because there was nothing personal. He just thought there's noise, therefore I'm gonna mute. But when you have like ramblings from people that are making arguments that have nothing to do with anything that's going on in the conversation, that doesn't count as noise because it's passive aggressiveness. It's a nice way to be a dick. That doesn't get moderated. Holding people to task and what they're actually saying, that's not the moderation that they do. No, it's noise limiting. They should get a game control.
Sure. I mean, the airy-fairy standards of various different servers that are out there. I don't know if I want to discuss this particularly, but you've brought it up. Their ideas of how this show should be managed, and I've heard this 10 years in comments, is often exercised into fruition in things like Earth Awakening server. And the net result is crap information can be allowed to pour through to an audience, and challenges, if they're stern enough, will be shut down because they don't like the way that the information's been presented. The tone of your voice becomes more important. I mean, Adam described it as a very woke way of dealing with people. Like, okay, that's how some people want to be in a civilized society because that is what society tells us is civilized currently. No, you've got to let everyone have their say. It's talking nonsense. Yeah, you've still got to let him have that nonsense spiel. Yeah. Right. What about if I challenge it and go
Now
through
we
it?
gotta shut that right down.
No, they've got to shut me down when I challenge it because I say, no, that's not correct. No, you can't just stop him. Oh, can I not? Why not? He's talking nonsense. Yeah, you've got to hear that nonsense out. Yeah, we have. We've heard it twice. Yeah, you still got to hear it again because he's saying it, isn't
So
he?
it's a beautiful territory for the virus of a globe head to persist, because all they have to do is just at the beginning of your rebuttal go, no, that's not true. To which everybody with with 2 ears can hear, well, actually, all they did was repeat what you said. And they're like, no, you misunderstood. And then they want to just filibuster again, then make their point again. So if you try to stop that from happening 3 times, let's just say you let it go on for 3 times and then you say, no, well, actually, you didn't address the point. It, that back and forth will then become loud enough for the moderators to say, hey, you guys need to settle down. So if I was a dirty fighter, I'd keep nut checking Mike Tyson until he bit someone's ear off. And then I'd go, now, settle down. No need to act like an animal, guys. Well, I mean, if all I have to do to win is just say no and be casually disruptive, I mean, what? I don't fucking get it. Someone
That's
is
right.
casually disruptive, and you say, well, this person is disrupted, like Ed Masto, for example. Like he's not even, he's just talking like this. Like he's just gonna keep on talking regardless of me saying, no, don't interrupt. No, what are you doing? Or why are you, no, listen, I said this, not what, like that back and forth is inevitably gonna get a mod from over
No,
there.
stop, Eli.
I
No,
love
we
I
need to
love
hear the
Stacy, not even
entirety of
including
the.
Stacy in this.
We need to hear the entirety of the red herring. Again, why are you interrupting him? We need the red herring in its entirety. Can you stop interrupting him, you monster?
Yep. Yep. But Geo
Meanwhile, the
doesn't.
rules
Geo,
should be reversed, right? Shouldn't it
but
be reversed? Shouldn't it be as soon as you hear like a logical fallacy or something that's incorrect, shouldn't it be stopped right there?
no, that's not the modding that majority of the mods there do. They do noise limiting. But Geo's pretty good. I've only persevered in the presence of Geo because Geo actually stops the room to allow me to make a point and then addresses the person who's not addressing the point. So I love Geo, but die slow. You're a fucking sorry, excuse my language. You're not that smart, kid.
He's not smart at all, Eli. You represent FED, and he's got his issues with FED because he's a Witzite. You know that. Come on. Did I lose connection?
No, my bad. I thought I was off mute and I wasn't. Good job you said something.
Oh, I thought I was off mute as well.
Oh, we were both jabbering into a closed mic.
I was wondering why nobody answered me. You're
I was in
part
full
of
swing.
FED.
I was wondering why nobody was agreeing with me. Go ahead, Levi. What were you saying? Well, you were posed a question by Neil actually that I responded to, but go ahead.
So I just came in to just say that to be petty, because I said that I would be leaving to go make my complaint. And so I did, and now I'm done.
Yeah, and it's a reasonable one. I mean, we're intentionally subjecting ourselves to these things. So when people moan like that to me in respect to our server, I'll say, well, you don't have to be here. You know, if you don't like how it's ran, you know, you can do the other thing. And the same applies to us when we're in other people's server. To a certain degree, you do have to just suck it up if that's how they want to be. Like, okay, well, I'll mold around that because I've got the winning point here, and it's going to be stressed. Now, if at the point that it's been chanted through or rumpused 10 times, and I'm getting frustrated at that point, as you put it, being nut checked, then at some point you're going to lose your temper. But that will become the focus in a lot of arenas, and people want civil discourse. You're like, okay, but if my opponent's nut checking me, eventually I'm going to lose my temper. But you're not recognizing you're not being a good ref.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're telling them, hey, he's nut checking me. Can somebody do something?
And
Like, yo, this is like,
and the guy nut checking you, right? I think it was Joe Rogan that said this about Mike Tyson. He says, look into his eyes. He's a killer. He's a monster. He's an animal, right? When he's in the ring, he's got one focus, and that's what people want. That type of person has a certain nature, and they'll rip your freaking ear off if you nut check them. That's the type of person that people want to watch in that sport, isn't
And
it?
you know what? To be technical, when he bit his ear off, he did it because Holyfield was fighting him dirty. Holyfield was headbutting him,
yep.
pushing him, he was bullying him. That's why Tyson got frustrated and bit him. That's a fact.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was so sad because Mike Tyson was my hero, man. Undefeated. He was the best boxer in the world, man.
the two
I don't
are
No,
care
he
what
wasn't
intertwined.
undefeated.
That's the point.
No.
The two are intertwined. For him to be your hero as a fighter, he has to be that mentality. Now, Holyfield knew that. That's why he's like them poking us, right? To get us to get annoyed, interrupt constantly, chant through us constantly, so that eventually we'll get annoyed. That's the reaction the person wants. Well, they don't expect you to rip their ear off with your teeth. That's what they don't expect. Now, someone who's got that mentality, if you're going to keep doing this, you're going to get something unexpected. Yeah? Because you're dealing with a monster. And we're in the ring right now. So you want to keep doing that, you're going to lose an ear.
Yeah, that's
And
true
Neil,
too. And
you're right.
that's how it
After he
is.
came out of jail, he did have his like first string of losses or loss or
Well, no, he lost the fight to Buster Douglas first before he went to jail. But let me just clear this up. He would never have beaten Holyfield. They were in the amateurs together, and he said that's one guy he could never beat was Holyfield. He just had that style that beat Tyson every time. But he
okay.
bullied him. He
So
bullied
there's a
him
little
because
rivalry there.
yeah, Tyson was a little. Tyson would headbutt. He'd hit you with the back of his elbow. He did it so fast you didn't see it. So Holyfield just gave him his own medicine, and he couldn't take it. But now look at Mike Tyson. Holyfield is shot. He can't even talk. Tyson is perfect.
Yeah.
I like Tyson. I listen to Tyson a fair bit. He's just got great quips, like
So
great
do I.
one-liners. You know what I mean? He can shut someone down in a sentence, and that takes some skill.
He's a flat
He
earther
sits
as well,
down
by
with
the way.
intellectual
Tyson's a
people,
flat earther.
and then when they say something, he passes a remark that stops them dead in their tracks. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Say again, Jin.
Mike Tyson's a flat earther, by the way. Did
How'd
you
you know that?
He's
How'd
a
you know
flat
that?
earther.
How'd you know? How'd you know that?
Sorry, yeah, I listened to one of his shows one time where he had all his black brothers together and they were discussing flat earth. So Mike Tyson is aware of the flat earth being flat. Okay? Tyson's a flat earther.
It doesn't make him a flat earther. That's not enough. Having a discussion about it, I can name 100 people that have had discussions about it that are definitely not flat earthers, in spite of having the discussions. So, how'd you...
Well, okay, yeah, but he's aware of it. He's aware of it, definitely, and he agreed with everything that was put forward. He was arguing for it. That makes him a flat earther in my book, anyway, even by default.
Where can I find this show, Jin? Where can I find that?
Yeah, let's have a look at this. Let's have a little look. Let's ascertain if Mike Tyson's actually a flat earther
I
or not.
don't really have that show as it was. It was a number of years ago. Yeah, it was a number of years ago. But you look it up. He was definitely discussing it on his show with his colleagues. They're sitting down and they were discussing flat Earth, and he was arguing for it. So Mike Tyson, flat earther without a doubt.
Fair enough. More power to you, Mike. I'm pretty sure if you get any shit over it, you'll rip their ears off.
Or bite their ears off.
But like you say, if I'm sure if we were to interview Mike Tyson about that exact incident, he'd describe it with a reasonably even temperament in terms of what Eli called nut checking. We all know what's being talked about, right? Well, that's been spun into, yeah, Tyson used to do those things and he's getting a taste of his own medicine. Now, whether or not he'd reflect on that is kind of inconsequential to my point. It's more to the point that, no, you're poking the beast. Now, sometimes when you poke the beast enough, it does something unexpected. Because that's the nature of the beast, isn't it? And when people say, I like watching him win, yeah, that's because the nature of the beast is to win. But the nature of the beast does unexpected things when you nut check it.
So we come out biting. You nut check us, we come out biting.
No, it is weakness. I'm not going to... It sounds like I'm having a pop at Tyson now, which I definitely don't want to be coming across as doing. Because he terrifies me. But there we go. No, I just think it's explaining that people who recognise that as a weakness will exploit it. Won't they? People exploit it in me all the time. If you can push me to a certain point, you can get me swearing and annoyed, can't you? Well, people will try and exploit that. Yeah? That's no different. That's weakness on my part. Now, part of overcoming weakness is to recognise it in the first instance, isn't it? But for Tyson, how can you recognise killer instinct as a weakness? You can't. How can you tell that animalistic instinct inside him that pushes him to win? How can you tell him, yeah, but you need to... It's right, full circle, back to Earth awakenings, isn't it? Because then you're into the, no, well, you need to, when you're fighting, behave like this. And it's like, yeah, there's rules in the ring. And to a certain extent, they're obeyed. And likewise, we have rules in our ring. But if you make the rules really crap, the fight becomes boring, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's a good illustration.
Okay, let's have this. Be with the Buzz is right on it. Thank you for sharing that. Be with the Buzz. Let's have a little listen. Have I got no sound from it? There's no sound from this. Unless I'm missing something.
Is this the Tyson clip?
Yeah, it's a Tyson clip, but I've got no sound coming through.
I can send you. I can look for.
Oh, here we go.
No fucking evidence to believe that we're around planet only, but people. Imagine we live on a flat fucking world. All this time we thought we lived on a round planet, huh? We have no fucking evidence to believe that we're around planet.
No swearing, Tyson.
And only, but people telling us, but we really don't know
11,
where we came from, who the fuck is our purpose here.
I'm not going to go for that. You're not going to tell me that on a round planet, though.
How do you know that? You never been out of space, nigga. Go ahead.
Wow, it's getting really loud real quick when people hear something. This cry, right? That's pain. I'm gonna hear that again.
Yep.
That's a guy going, when they go to us, like effectively, la 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 la, I'm not listening when they rumpus us. Right? That's what Tyson's just induced in this man. He has turned his head 180 degrees away from the man that's just said it and just screamed. Listen to this.
Tell me that on a round planet, though.
How do you know that? You never been out of space, nigga. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
What did he say?
Over 1,118 miles per hour.
The wind?
Yeah.
So that would tear us apart.
Yeah, I'm still not with you on it, I'm afraid, Jin.
So Mike Tyson.
Right, without
is a
any
flat
further ado,
earther.
let us bring in the guest for the Flat Earth debate. Here we go.
Well, he did say that
Hey,
there's
David, how's it
no
going?
evidence.
Hey, what's going
to
on?
the-
Thanks for having me. This
Thank
is
Sorry, I left the video to play and went on to the next one. Sorry.
Yeah, he.
Wait a
so
second.
he-
So
he-
they
he
were
did
saying
say
flat
that-
earth debate.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Try once
Yeah,
more, Eli.
what were they saying? But basically, Tyson is just saying that you don't have any evidence to believe it. Like, so the lack of evidence just leave us with what everyone experiences: a flat, non-rotating, stationary plane.
Yeah, but how do I know that he's not just taking the position for the sake of discussion? Because he's put the argument forward, but he's not making a declaration outright what he is.
Well, I mean, he's saying there's no evidence. For someone to say there's no evidence of something means that they're basically saying, well, I believe it if there was evidence.
Let's rephrase
Like, unless
this.
he's lying.
Okay,
Unless he's lying.
I'm not suggesting that. When I get challenged in terms of whether or not I'm a flat earther by our anti-flat earth opponents, they want to deny something that I will openly declare. I am a flat earther. Earth is measured flat. There's no ambiguity about what I'm suggesting. Now, likewise, there's people like, as we discussed yesterday, Robertson Jennis, who can easily debunk various aspects of heliocentrism. That's sun at centre, Earth moving around it in an orbital motion. Now, if he's using Ptolemy or older versions of a globe Earth rhetoric where the globe is at the centre, that's a geocentric globe Earth, you can have plenty of arguments that can overcome positions that heliocentrists take, but yet retain a globe Earth faith. Now, for me, unless Tyson was to overtly and explicitly say, I understand the fact that Earth is measured flat, I wouldn't necessarily ascribe him the title of flat earther. Now, you might pick up on this in the audience. Hang on a second. Doesn't that mean that your standard then unilaterally applies to all other people who maybe tag their videos as flat earth and then talk about how we, for example, haven't got earth curve, haven't got spin, should see at a certain distance but don't? They're not flat earthers either, by my now re-established standard. Unless you appreciate the fact that Earth is measured flat, I'm not interested in your beliefs about what globe Earth may or may not do. It doesn't mean anything to me anymore. People need to take a strong stance and understand how we're measuring Earth. Once they understand how we're measuring Earth and how their latitude specifically was developed into the globe, until you have that understanding, as far as I'm concerned, you're not a flat earther. Because you don't know that Earth is flat. Now, you might believe that the Earth is flat based on how you can show it not to be spherical, not to be turning, not to have Earth curve. But that doesn't make an overt declaration of the fact that Earth is flat, and that is the standard that I would hope people who declare themselves as flat earthers attain. Because if they don't, they're going to get dragged through the bushes backwards by anti-flat earthers who know the rhetoric and anti-rhetoric better than they do, based on their beliefs and what they've seen in YouTube for how the globe doesn't work. As far as I'm concerned, we've progressed beyond that. We don't even need to mention the globe. As flat earthers, we can just describe the way the world works. No reference to a globe needed. And if they describe a globe, they'll use everything we've just used to describe how the Earth actually functions to then hijack those measurements of a flat Earth to claim it's a globe. So they'll need what we say first to hold true, to then believe they're on a globe based on those flat Earth measurements. For example, radius. So they need a flat Earth more than we do. And if you're still telling us how it isn't a globe or how a globe should work but doesn't, you're in a globe mindset.
You want to know another thing that I can't stand? Like, I was in a conversation yesterday, and here we are again with these guys, just people saying that they don't want to say that they are flat earthers, but rather that it presents itself as a plane or planar. But synonyms for flat is even, level, plane, smooth, uniform, horizontal, unbroken, and planar. So there's that.
Right. And the way we derive these things in terms of our mapping and indeed our development of a spherical religion was to make angle measurements to the stars with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. We use it all day long for the heights of everything when we talk about sea level. We're talking about a level plane of reference. That's what Earth is measured as. That's how it's dealt with. That's how we know. Now, if you don't know that, then you don't know it's flat. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So shout out to you, Mike Tyson. In case you want a better argument, rather than how the globe may work according to religious rhetoric that's been derived from flat Earth measurements, just know how Earth's measured. And if you know only one fact about how Earth's measured, know that Polaris, for the North Pole centric system in the maps, is the basis for the measurements off a flat plane. The latitude lines that have been stretched around a globe are representative of angle measurements to Polaris, and each of those angles gives you an area of equal elevation. A circle of equal elevation just means that as you move around Polaris, with Polaris staying at the same angle, you end up with a circle, with Polaris at the centre and you running along a flat baseline to the angle measurement to Polaris. Those are circles of equal elevation. Now, as you go further out, the angle to Polaris will decrease with respect to a flat plane. That's how latitude is measured and does form our globe claims if we make them. Earth must be measured flat first to infer that you're standing on a spherical surface. Obviously, when you reach that point, it's very difficult to conceptualize standing on a curved surface that's been measured flat. That's when you're a flat earther, as far as I'm concerned. When you know it's flat, and you can show it, and show how the globe comes out of those measurements. 83 people watching. Let's see if we can get it edged over 100. Very warm welcome to all of you who've just joined us, if you have just joined us. Please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. We don't actually have a... Oh, no, I suppose we have actually covered a video today. I should really ask people to let
Imagine
Mike
we live
Tyson
on a...
know. This isn't on... this is somebody else, though. Somebody's trimmed this out. Someday Dead. Dead? Can't quite see it this distance on my big screen. Has anybody got an original link to Mike Tyson on any video so I can send people to him rather than to this particular trimmed out subscriber? If someone's got a link to Mike Tyson's channel, stick it in the Master B link and I'll direct my audience to him so they can say hi. Don't assume he's a friendly. Don't assume as... Sorry to do this to you, Jin. Don't assume that Jin's right. He may not be. Even with this video in tow. I want to hear that scream again while someone's digging out a link to a Mike Tyson video that I can actually send people to. Let's have a listen again.
A flat fucking world. All this time we thought we lived on a round planet, huh? We have no fucking evidence to believe that we're on a round planet, only but people telling us, but we really don't know who we are, where we came from, who the fuck is our purpose here.
I'm not going to go for that. You're not going to tell me that on a round planet, though.
How do you know that? You never been out of space, nigga.
I want to hear it again. That's so epic. That is Share Your Pain 101. Right? I don't hear this!
Out of space, nigga.
There's a part of that you miss.
Actually, the guy screaming is screaming because Mike Tyson caught the guy out with a good punch. In that, how do you know you haven't been out of space? And the guy's just saying, aha, but he's giving it with the scream, that's all. Okay, you got to understand black psychology, man.
Is this black psychology? Eli was the one who piped up before you did. Go on, Eli, what were you going to say?
I can't eat.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. Anyway, we've got a link to Mike Tyson now, so I'll pick a first video on his list.
Maybe Flat
believe
Earth
in
did
heaven?
start out from black guys in Burger King.
Check me out in Asphalt City. This will be a promotion for a fight he's having, presumably.
I don't know if I believe in heaven, but I believe in hell.
This isn't very Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he's about to fight Jake Paul. Did you know?
Yeah, it did. What an embarrassment.
It's gonna crush him.
What?
Yeah,
I don't know about
I don't
that.
know, man.
I don't know about that.
There's
You
a guy
don't know.
there's a guy who made a very good point that his punch resistance has been dropping since like early 2000s. So, you know, yeah, he
His
can hit
punch
hard,
what?
but
He's in his 60s,
his
Neil.
resistance to someone punching him.
He's in his 60s. I mean, I don't know if I should give my
Listen to
opinion
me
on this.
carefully.
I
Hold
don't
on.
know it.
Listen to me carefully. Okay, go ahead.
You say listen to me carefully. I'm going to shut up, aren't I?
Oh, okay. So Mike Tyson is going to hit this guy with a combination. He's going to hit him with more combinations than a Chinese restaurant. So forget about this Paul guy.
Okay. I don't think you're really taking into consideration Mike Tyson's age. I mean, yeah.
I do take into consideration his age. But
Okay,
some people, you have to understand, this guy is not a boxer. He's an amateur. Mike Tyson is a fighter. There's a difference between a fighter and a boxer.
Okay. Well, time will tell. I just don't think it's. I just don't think it's something that. This is going to sound terrible. I don't think it should be happening. Personally, that's my attitude. I mean, even if he wins, it's just like what why is this even happening? This seems silly to me. But there we go. That's just my opinion on it. Jake Paul will do very well. He's leeching off the good name of one of the best fighters in history. You're like,
it's happening because he has big bills to pay.
Yeah, but Eli, if he was fighting somebody,
hold on,
like,
Neil. Hold on,
ring.
Neil. Just one sec. Were you referring to Tyson? You're saying Tyson's just got bills to pay?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a bummer of a position to be in. A potential to tarnish your legacy with some tosser like Jake Paul. I don't want to say that about Jake Paul. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, and more power to him in terms of leeching off the credit and abilities of Mike Tyson in terms of about now. That can only serve the interests of Jake Paul, regardless of the outcome. And from that perspective, more power to you, Jake Paul. Wonderful marketing. I mean, that's fantastic. From your perspective, this is wonderful. I mean, just wonderful. I bet you are absolutely made up. So to hear Mike Tyson's got to do this to pay the bills, I could weep for the guy.
That's not true.
I feel so bad for him if that's the case.
It's not true.
Well, that's what
Mike Tyson is doing Mike Tyson is doing very well, Eli. He's got a bunch of people around him now that are looking out for him. He's got freaking that marijuana thing going on. He's got vapes. He's got Mike Tyson vapes out there, marketing himself very well. He's not doing it for the money. He says it. He feels like, because he's a warrior, and he feels like since he humbled himself, he don't know what he is anymore. And he hates that.
What do you mean
He's
humbled
trying
himself?
to find that fighter again.
What do you mean humbled himself?
Gotta watch his videos.
Well, yeah, he is a lot. He's very humble versus, his what is the word? Sentiment. I don't know what it is. But back in the day, he's a lot more humble now. It's very enjoyable watching an older man is coming across with wisdom versus just being this young a-hole who knows he can beat everyone. But I mean, I'm not saying the guy is broke. The same way I wouldn't say a person with, a good 9 to 5 is broke. But I'm saying that regardless of what you do in America, supposedly the statistics are that 60% of people live paycheck to paycheck. Mike is one of those people. That's why he's doing this. That's why he has a podcast. That's why he has all this other stuff going on. because if he had investments that paid him, he wouldn't need to work. But he doesn't have investments. Why? Because he put all of his investment into Don King. Now he has to build up what or salvage what's left. And unfortunately,
And that's the sad thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Customato left him in good hands. If he would have just stood with the guys that Cuss put around him, they were going to take care of him. They were going to make sure, because Cuss put it in there. You make sure you take care of him. His money's his money. But he fell for that old thing. Don't trust a white man. And they freaking robbed him. Don King robbed him. It's a shame what happened to Mike Tyson. Freaking really is a shame, man.
Go on,
Makes
Jim.
me, that
If I
annoys
may
the
just,
shit
if
out
I
of me.
may,
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
sorry, Neil. Yeah, sorry, Neil. I was just gonna say that I think Mike Tyson, financially he's okay. He's not struggling. The point is, I think he's a brave man to do what he wants to do, and maybe he's got some personal feeling in himself. Can I still achieve that what I did before and take a fight on? He's brave to want to do that. Okay, at 60, I'm 62, so I know what it's like to want to retain your youth, your health, and your strength if you can muster it up. Now that's what he's doing. This could be something personal within himself, a personal fight within himself, and he just wants to prove to himself that he can do it. That's all there is to it there. Come on, he's a brave man. He's taking on a younger person. He's got more to lose than that young person, as far as I'm concerned, even though he's 60.
I agree.
Exactly. He's got more to lose. That's the point, isn't it? It's just a shame he's in that
You
position.
heard it from me first. He's going to crush this Jake Paul. Crush him.
And I'm just worried about his ability to take a punch. I mean, Jake Paul
He ain't going to have to take a punch. He ain't going to have to.
All right. I mean, he is 60. He looks good when he turns on the camera and he just hit the gym and he's like, all right, get us sparring. But, after a minute, 2 minutes, I hope he puts Jake Paul on his ass. Because I love Mike Tyson, not because I necessarily want Jake Paul to lose, but we'll see. Like Nathan said, we'll see.
I almost don't care about the outcome. I just think
sorry if I can add this. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I always feel that these kind of bouts where you got the young versus the, I really find them interesting. Okay. See what can be done at 60.
Maybe.
Listen, Jim, if it goes past,
I'm taking.
Hold on, Neil. Go on, Jim. Or don't. Go ahead, Neil.
If it goes past 3 rounds, something like that, yeah, then you got to worry. All right? Because then his age is going to kick in. 3, 4, 5 rounds, yeah. But I'm telling you, this guy, Jake Paul's never been hit by the likes of a guy like Tyson. I'm sorry.
I hate this.
He's going to wake up into a sad reality.
Yeah, don't forget.
I just want to say this.
Yeah.
I hate this. Us assessing Mike Tyson now, it just seems so wrong. But there we go.
So according to you, they would have never made the movie Rocky Balboa. Because he went in there to get his license and they won't give it to him because of his age.
Okay, I'm sure Tyson would be absolutely...
Let me just say this.
Hold on, I think Tyson would be elated to be compared to Rocky, down on his luck, struggling to get a license. I'm sure he'd be loving being compared, Neil.
No, the movie Rocky Balboa, not Rocky, because he was fine.
Yeah.
If you didn't see the movie Rocky Balboa, then forget it.
I didn't.
It should have been Rocky 5. It was all about
Rocky
grieving.
Balboa. That
was a great freaking movie.
That was a great movie.
Okay, can we edge this back onto Flat Earth with Mike Tyson in mind?
Yeah, Mike Tyson said Earth is flat, man. He ain't never been to space.
Oh, right. Well, with that in mind, please let Mike Tyson know, although it's on a random video that's not going to be the one we've covered, because that would take some
Okay,
time.
now I do feel, last point
my
I'm going to
bad.
make, the last point I'm going to make, sorry.
Doing a shout out. Just give me a
Yeah,
sec.
let me just make this little point. I think Mike Tyson is in good physical condition. I think he's going to give the young man.
Okay, you've just put yourself on mute in the middle of your own sentence there, Jim. But ideally, I'd just get to the end of this shout out. So please let Mike Tyson know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice comment that helps him along in the algorithm. Not that he necessarily needs it, but hopefully, if Mike Tyson were to respond, hopefully without any response to the ignorance I've displayed in terms of fighting, which I know nothing about, but in respect to the flat Earth information that we've disseminated, because I'm hoping that he'll, you know, as I say, be directed to this video so he knows we're talking about him, and hope he hears what I say about what it is to be a flat earther. He may not want that label. You know, denying globe rhetoric doesn't necessarily make you a flat earther, regardless of what Jin says. And maybe people will go with a comment that tries to clarify that with him on this specific video that has nothing to do with flat earth, I'm in no doubt. But nevertheless, he said it, we've heard it, it was in the trimmed out clip, so please let him know. Please stay on mute till I've just finished the bloody call to action, whoever is in open mic in G+. This is now the third attempt to do this. What a shit show. Can you just mute till I finish shouting out Mike? Mike, man, I really wanted to do a proper good shout out for you. Keep it clean. Yeah? It's not my fault. Love you, bro. Let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Hopefully he'd return the love and put a link to our video were he to respond to us, pointing out that Earth is measured flat. For their globe religion, for the people who laughed and screamed when you told them they haven't been to space, their globe religion's based on flat Earth measurements. Let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Link going by in the live stream chat right now if you are actually watching live. Although it'll still be there after the fact. Just go to the live stream chat. Okay, I'm now done for every interrupter that wanted to get in on that. Jin, you go first, because you cut yourself off in the middle of your sentence about his physique.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say that I think Mike Tyson is in good condition for his age. The young man he's going to have a fight with has to keep himself on his toes, keep his guards up. Don't let it down, because Mike Tyson is a dark horse in that ring. You know, he's got that one punch that will send you into the stratosphere. Okay, so be careful. And you heard it from me about the Mike Tyson being a flat earther. So there you go. Jin CBO1, keeping it alive. The loudest flat earther you'll ever meet. Undisputed champion. Dark destroyer of the heliocentric model. Thank you very much.
Way to go, Jin.
I don't know, you're making assumptions about him. I don't know if this is reasonable. Okay, if you want to actually see what Mike Tyson's form's like, I have been keeping up with his shorts videos, I'll be honest, in terms of his training. So we'll have a watch of one of these.
Getting ready for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. What? Day 2. We're getting.
There you go. So you can make up your own mind about Mike Tyson's physical fitness and how capable he is in terms of a fight with Jake Paul. Not that I think it's pretty disgusting that we're even assessing this, but there we go. That's life, isn't it?
Yep.
It's a great picture you got up right now.
He also, before we get to that, it is a great picture, angles of elevation to the bluff, or the cliff, whatever you call it. But the one part that was missing in that clip with Mike Tyson is him asking Jim Jones, that's the guy he was talking to in the clip, Jim Jones, the rapper, for anybody who cares out there, he said, so you really believe that it's raining diamonds on Saturn? You think it's raining diamonds? Come on, you don't know that shit, son. I was like, yo. Or diamonds on Jupiter, whichever one it is.
Did he say that, or are you suggesting he should?
No, that is what he said in the rest of the clip.
Did he really? In the bit that we played out?
No, but I've seen that episode. So he also like when Jim Jones is like, "Nah, you're not gonna tell me this," and da 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 da. He's like, "You know, they say that it's raining diamonds on whatever planet." He said, I can't remember which one it is. He's like, "You believe that shit?"
Fair enough. I mean, it sounds like he has assessed it, and maybe I'll be eating my words, Jin. If he's questioning people
Yeah, you're
based
going to
on,
be eating your words, Nathan.
but it sounds like he's
A dark
questioning.
horse myself, man.
But at the very least, he's questioning some of the bullshit narrative, right? You believe there's diamonds falling down on a light in the sky? Really? You believe that shit? Yeah, I appreciate the sentiment. Beyond the fact that I'm not going to change my rhetoric, the sky's not a vacuum. "107 people watching. A very big thank you to all of you who smashed that share button at my call to action earlier. Please share the show if you've not done so already. Very warm welcome to all 107 people here, but especially the people who've just got here. Please share the show. We're covering Mike Tyson, in case you can't figure it out with his face on screen. And although we have gone through the unfortunate circumstances of him fighting some whippersnapper upstart, let's just call him, in the boxing fraternity, that is a side issue to the fact that Mike Tyson is apparently a flat earther, or at the very least, a globe skeptic. I think I'll go with that at this point, Jin. He's definitely a globe skeptic. You happy with that?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I agree with that. Yeah, no problem.
Go on, Adam.
I just asked AI just to see what she'd say. Based on available information, it's highly likely that Mike Tyson adheres to the flat earth belief system. Here's why. YouTube channel. Mike Tyson has a YouTube channel specifically dedicated to flat earth content. Channels promoting flat earth ideas typically present arguments, information that support the flat earth model. So he might be a bit more on it.
He might be our enemy.
He might be an Ethereum. We'll have him.
Yeah, this is the problem, isn't it? You just don't know. So we get stereotyped all the time with what flat earthers believe. And I actually explained this recently in an interview I did with JLB, a Bondversation, as he calls it. You can check it out on his website. Or if you're a member of mine, you can see the full 4 hours of us producing that show. So it's not edited or nice or anything, but his version is. So I would recommend you go and watch it and become a member of his website to go and watch it. Anyway, in the interview, I was explaining that we actually stand in opposition to almost everybody. So if, for the sake of argument, Mike was here now and he was like, "Do you believe there's diamonds raining down on Jupiter," or wherever it's claimed to be, Io or something, some moon of Saturn or something? And I go, "Well, who cares? The sky's not a vacuum." Yeah? Now, it might be that there's certain aspects of heliocentrism that he retains, or certain aspects of Feast of Nonsense Flat Earth that he has taken on board to make his arguments with. Certainly doesn't seem the case in the very, very limited information I've got about Mike Tyson's Flat Earthism. It doesn't seem that way, right? But you don't know. Now, again, the guy's pretty terrifying. So in terms of if I was actually face-to-face to him, I'd be very careful with my words when I'm like, no, it's just measured flat. No, your heliocentric sky vacuums derive from orbital motions that came from flat Earth measurements. The notions of gravity, etc., etc. If he's an Ethereum, for the sake of argument, he might be an upward rising earther, for all we know. And suddenly you're facing down with what I earlier described as a monster, a killer, right? Telling him he's wrong. Now, I'm sure the guy, I've watched enough of Mike Tyson now, and Eli echoed this sentiment in terms of how humble he is at the moment. You know, he's pretty chill, right? He's swearing a bit, but he's pretty chill when he's even covering a controversial subject with a rapper in this instance. Yeah, he's not looking like he's about ready to get angry about it. Let's be honest. So I wouldn't be that concerned. But I know the nature of the beast also if I piss him off too much. And you've got to be on the back foot when it comes to flat earthers. We're on the front foot as far as telling people Earth's measured flat and our opponents agree with us. Oh yeah, it's just because it's so big though. Yeah, that's still measured flat though, isn't it? But the flat earthers are giving us the strongest opposition at the moment. Would you not agree? And he might be one of them. You know what I mean?
I agree to that.
Yeah.
Been saying it for a while. Flat Earthers are giving us a hard time more than ballers.
JLB couldn't wrap his head around it. It's like, what do you mean you stand in opposition to flat earthers? You've just told me you're a flat earther. I'm like, I am. I know Earth's measured flat, but there's plenty of what I call the Feast of Nonsense, which I would suggest is akin to a controlled opposition narrative. I wish I was more careful with that wording when I said it to him, because he's like, are you saying there's a controlled opposition narrative? Can you prove it's controlled opposition? I'm like, no. I'm suggesting that if I wanted to have a controlled opposition narrative, it would be the flat earth narrative we have, because it's all nonsense. It's all making baseless assertions. It's all based on paradigms that you can't prove and models that are set up in false dichotomy. All of these things are positioning flat earthers to be ridiculed, whereas we want to just prove it's flat here on Flat Earth Debate, but we're amongst the minority of specifically named as flat earthers. We are not the majority. Quite the contrary, the majority who want Ethereum belief or various other flat earth, new age, worldly beliefs, they want to retain those with the scientific validity they claim to have to offer to their audiences when they claim it. We say, you haven't got any scientific proof for this. You don't even know what science is. And the result of that is me, I was going to say we, might as well be honest, I get called a scammer for pointing out how the scientific method works when flat earthers are using these tricks that put us on a globe to claim new nonsense in a flat earth realm. Well, as I say, we stand in opposition to that garbage. Therefore, we're opposed on all sides. Shouldn't laugh, it's a fact though. And I don't want Mike Tyson to be one of those sides. He looks really, really mean.
I feel what you're saying.
Don't forget, we got Brummy on our side.
From the we don't get much. We don't get much. You know what the problem is?
What?
Across the board, the problem is logical fallacies. I know I say this all the time. It's not like I'm perfect. Like I don't commit logical fallacies here and there. But if I'm called out on it, I'm gonna take a pause and go, "Well, how so? Okay, well maybe I did do that." I'm not gonna try to reroute the sentiment of my my premise into another I've already inserted my premise into a fallacious argument, so it's like I'm not going to try to reroute and give another example that will do exactly the same thing, commit the same fallacy. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because these, the flat earthers that are against us, they kind of do what the ballers do. They learned logical fallacies enough to try to call someone out here and there when they're committing one, but when they're asking questions back, or when they're establishing a point of their own, they're not internally like checking whether or not they're committing a fallacy themselves. And that's the problem. That's why people will say, well, I know what you're saying about the second law of thermodynamics, but let's think about it like this. Couldn't I just say that, couldn't you just make an assumption like they did? Like, why? But they'll fight you for that. I was
Witsit was the perfect example. The other day with Witsit. How many times did he commit the same logical fallacy and add two other ones on?
Yeah.
What's up, everyone? What's up, everyone?
What's up? So the one thing I will say is as far as the anti-flat earthers, like they don't even have a claim. Shout out to MG42 Pillbox for saying that they haven't made a claim in years, because we were talking to Ed Master this morning in Earth Awakenings, and he's basically saying he don't have a claim, or don't strawman him. So I said, okay, well, I'm just gonna make a statement then. And I said the atmosphere reaches zero at the carbon line, according to them. Okay, do we have any evidence of that? And he said that's not true. And I said, well, here's a citation that's saying it, not that it can be evidence.
Oh,
now,
beautiful.
You're saying that it continues to. No, his contention, this is the most important part. He said, yeah, the citation that I brought up said assumes. So he wasn't taking on the position, and he was nitpicking the fact that it said assumes.
Yeah, what
fair
you're
enough.
describing is stereotypical anti-flat earther behavior. So they're more than happy to relinquish, in this case entirely, all globe claims and superimpose their own belief, individualistic belief, of how a globe Earth would work according to them, in their mind, and then disclaim that they, as an individual, because it's their claims, they're not making any. So you, logically so, put the globe Earth claim to them, and they say, I'm not making that claim, or that claim, that obviously you can debunk, is a straw man. For example, if Earth's a sphere radius 3959 miles, then every distance to horizon can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as laid down in the Earth curve maths. What's that you say, Mr. Anti-Flat Earth opponent? That's a straw man? No, that's your maths. But you're more than happy to relinquish your own claim, or even say it's mine, so you can oppose it. Yeah, that's an anti-flat earther. Not making a claim. Yeah, we know what the globe claim is. It's set in stone. Doesn't matter if you adhere to it. You still want to believe you're on a globe, but as an anti-flat earther, you can relinquish all globe claims because you haven't made them. And when we point them out, you tell us how our rendition of the globe claim is wrong. Yeah, anti-flat earth. Someone else we oppose.
I just want to add real quick. Thank you, Nathan, for sharing that thing on Mike Tyson. I just love it. A lot of these guys on these platforms, they like to, he's an advocate for flat earth, but he didn't want to seem like it. So he just threw it out there as a, presupposition. That's why he said, how do we know? What if we did this? And what if that was beautiful. And that's on a huge platform. He has a lot of viewers. So hopefully more will be bold enough to do that and just put it out there as a point of discussion. But that was a good one right there. Somebody like him is very influential on all spectrums. So that's good.
Cool. Well, I hope people in the audience do actually let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, and leave him a nice comment, or maybe ask, hey Mike, do you actually believe the Earth is flat? Because if he says yes, he's probably our enemy. If he says I know it's flat, he's on our side. But with that, I'll say if you're watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow.
Type in where does PSI atmosphere reach zero, right? So if you read, it says, where are we? Oh, okay. The Kármán line is the commonly accepted boundary where space begins, which would also be the point where the air pressure is assumed to be zero. Well, there you go. He took issue with me reading, with that citation saying assumed. So I said, well, I mean, that's all you have on your end, because with Eratosthenes, the 5 assumptions that he made, well, let's just stick with the 2 that matter. That the light rays from the sun would strike the Earth are parallel, and that the Earth is a sphere. Noted as 2 of his assumptions. And we also have a PDF for how far away is the horizon. So you Google distance to horizon formula, and you'll find this very quickly. And it says, we stand on the shore with our feet just to sea level and look out to sea. We may ask, how far away is the horizon? We start by making the simplifying assumption that the Earth is a sphere with radius r. So, I mean, they're just a bunch of, they just argue for the sake of arguing. They're not really trying to get down to the bottom of the crux of the matter. They're not trying to understand what the claims are, therefore how they're rebutted, or if there's any validation. They don't care about any of that stuff. That's the weirdest thing to me in this whole situation is you can. I don't get it. Go ahead.
I mean, it's not, to me, it's not weird. It's intended because most people, especially your Dannies and your Michikuku, all those people, and your Neil deGrasse, they know that just by their titles and by their popularity that no one is going to question or challenge, or even have the opportunity to question and challenge them in front of a broad audience, to the level of having people put their finger on their head and go, so they could throw out assumptions, bunch of assumptions without any type of even acceptance of a rebuttal. That's the whole thing. Not only do they challenge themselves with a rebuttal on an oppositional perspective or anything like that. They literally just stand on their assumption and then shut the door for anybody challenging them with a, well, what about it on the other side? That's how they do it. They have to do it that way. It's like that's what most bullies do, and they're nothing but bullies. They're pseudo-intellectual bullies. Bullies.
They don't.
That's what they are.
I think the general populace don't want it to be challenged. That is to say, they don't want to look into an alternative view. They want the guru to tell them what's what, and them to go, at the end of this process, I now know better, thanks to being told by Neil deGrasse Tyson about orbits or gravity or whatever it is he's disseminating on his interview. They just want to go, yep, I learned from the best, and now I know, because I can regurgitate what he told me. What's that? You want to challenge him? Well, how disrespectful. This man is our guru. He's telling us how it is. I don't want you challenging it. The general,
spot on.
The general public don't want it challenged. So when they hear us challenging it, they go, or something similar.
Good morning, guys.
Well, you said that there as a rapper, so not necessarily the general public.
Morning, chocolate. Morning, chocolate. Morning, morning, morning.
Yo, yo.
What's up? What's up? But yeah, that's spot on, Nathan, what you just said. Yep. And I think I said that one time on a comment on one of your things. I had said basically the egos of these pseudo intellects are massaged by the cognitive dissonant and the naive and the lazy anti-self critical thinking individuals in the populace. And they look at it like, all hail, to these guys because they're their guru. So they feel like if they read their books, if they watch their programs, if they watch their video, they know all and can tell all. But they don't really realize that they'd be better off following Jim Carrey, or any comedian telling them something, or actor. It's like they're gullible when it comes to anybody. That's even the clergy. People like that in the church. They don't self-analyze and interpret for their own whatever they read. They're like charmed, and they feel like, oh, he speaks so well, he's so articulate, and the way he goes, you look at that, all the little rhythms in his movements in the choir with the it just grabs you to the point where somebody says the pastor's wrong or the professor's wrong. Everybody looks at you, the math, and say, how dare you? What are you? Do you have a degree in blah, blah, blah? Have you went to blah, 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 blah? That's how they look at it. And that's why they're easily
even if you're right,
led like sheeple.
Even if you're right, what they'll do is even if you're right, what they'll do is they'll just go, all right, but can we not talk about this right now? Like, that's the best you get. Okay, they're a liar, but this isn't the place.
Exactly.
Or why are we talking? I want to talk about sports, right? Oh, I want to know. I want to talk about the Super Bowl and shit like that. Why are you talking about gas pressure? That makes no sense. That's literally a quote that I've had somebody tell me. Like, I want to talk about football. I don't want to talk about gas pressure or what gas does. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. And you know what else I hear too? Whose truth? Your truth? His truth? They literally look at truth as being a yin and a yang.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's belief
not the truth I know of.
That's the problem.
Subjective.
Exactly. They turn it into subjective. Who said that, Brian? Yeah, it's not a subjective question. We're talking about facts of how the world is dealt with, and they take it to, so you believe the Earth is flat then? Why do you believe that the Earth is flat? It's like, I don't. There's no belief involved here.
Right.
Yep. That's exactly what happened to me and my friend just the other week. My name is Flat Earth Guns on my video game, and so I knew that if I added him, he was going to ask me what's that about. So he said, "What's that about?" And I said, don't worry about it. I tried to dismiss it and hand wave it, and he said, "So you believe the Earth is flat?" I said, "No, I know it is." He's like, "So you believe it?" I said, "No, it measures that way." He said, "So you believe it?" I said, "Well, is a measurement a belief? Like, for example, like I'm 6'2". He's like, "Yeah, but that's a measurement that's objective. You have a belief." And I'm like, "No," I said, "I measure it." He's like, Like it was the craziest thing in the world. Like they just,
you must only believe in this so I can challenge your belief and faith in something that I can disprove based on my faith. But I don't confess to my faith being faith because I've never wanted to express the cognitive dissonance of looking into alternatives. I just know what I know from the guru. That's not faith. What you've got's faith. Tell me it's a belief.
Yeah, he literally said, if I'm saying that I know it, that means I'm telling him what not to believe. And I said, oh, okay, he's not even arguing from a point of empiricism. He's dead. I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah, you telling him it's measured flat means that he's got to suddenly question his belief. Well, it's far easier to tell you've got a belief in this stuff because then I can go about my day without giving it a second thought.
Yeah, the first thing you got to do is immediately drag it into a category editor. And then you got to make a special pleading to deny the measurement. And then all your other fallacies flow out from there.
Yeah, from there you can start using flat earth measurements to tell the person you've just told has got a belief about how the world's spherical based on the flat earth measurements they'll refer to. But you won't be talking about them because you've just got a flat earth belief in a sun that hovers over an azimuthal equidistant projection. That's your belief. I'm going to tell you what your belief is. But my measurements of a flat earth, they'll be proving a globe in a minute. And I need to stack that flat earth measurement that I'll say proves a globe against your belief. So let's make sure we all know how the rules are going to work here. These are the rules of engagement when we deal with flat earthers. You've got a belief in nonsense and ether and suns that hover above discs and pancakes and edges and domes and ice walls. That's what you've got to believe in if I'm going to have this conversation with you. What I know from what I was told from Tyson and Cox, those things are facts. Not questionable, not beliefs. We all clear? Now let's engage. Or disengage, as the case may be. Title of this video is Mike Tyson, Flurf? ?
I think I saw that before. There's a guy in the studio with him, and he doesn't listen to any nonsense from the guy. Is it that the clip?
That's funny. Why don't John Glovers go tell Mike Tyson in his face how stupid he is for knowing Earth is flat? Go ahead.
I don't think I said this in the live show. I tried to hint around this. I don't think it would matter. I don't think he's the kind of Mike Tyson is a person that exists as a reasonable human being in society. So therefore, he's not going to just lamp you. And when it comes to the rules of engagement and getting into that mindset and training and then getting in the ring with an opponent for a paid fee, that's work to him. When you're just having a chit-chat with someone like Mike Tyson, I don't think you actually, as I expressed in the live show, have to be concerned that he's going to knock your head off. I mean, I'll acknowledge it semi for humorous effect because I don't actually think even if you did piss him off royally, he's not going to take your head off, is he?
No, he just talks straight to you. Sorry,
You'll bite your ear off.
Well, he might just get feisty with you. You know, he might start getting aggressive in terms of the way that our opponents get aggressive with us. You know, he might start calling you names. What I'm saying is he's not gonna take your head off your shoulders, is he?
Now I've got the response here. He sits calmly and smiles and eats a jelly bean as Graham Hancock makes a dick of himself. They then move on. It's just a little part in this because they're discussing Graham Hancock. And if I can play 30 seconds, because then he'll go on to this is, they try to lump me in with this and then the conversation moves on. I can play that and then just show you. It's quite funny. I was going to bring it up early on in the week. Graham Hancock, who's a baller proponent, and just show some of his evidence, which I found quite funny. But if you can I press play?
Yes, Adam.
Understanding of the past and our understanding of who and what we are.
Well, we really appreciate you because we need someone like you to tell these foolish people they need to rewrite history.
I see down there, just underneath deGrasse Tyson, there's another passage, thoughts on flat Earth conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
conspiracy theories in general. I have to say, The Earth is not flat. We live on this huge ball in space, definitely, I just have no doubt about that. It's an unnecessary thing. Why does the Earth need to be flat?
Yeah.
Is it what is it? Even if it was flat, who cares? I mean, we're here we're here to live our lives and hopefully to live them well.
Didn't kill
But the Earth
anybody,
is
and
not
even if I
flat.
did kill
And the
someone, who
ancients
cares?
knew this. The ancients knew this forever. The ancient Egyptians knew this. Everybody knows that the Earth is not flat. You just need to stand on a cliff and look at a distant ocean horizon and see a ship come towards you, and you'll see the
He's
funnel
a
of the ship
fucking
first
idiot.
before you see the deck of the ship.
Yeah.
That's because it's coming around a curved horizon. Yet that conspiracy theory survives.
He
So
would get utterly
this is part of the
destroyed. This is
way
why they can't
that
talk
my
to us.
work gets.
He would get utterly destroyed. This is why they don't talk to us.
You know what's crazy about this? As long as this guy's been around, Graham Hancock, I've never heard him actually speak on flat Earth or the concept of ball versus flat, whatever. This is the
But it
first time
wouldn't
I'm
matter
hearing it.
chocolate anyway if it was. It's flatter. You know what I mean? But it
I'm
matters
just
a lot
saying,
to him.
bro. He just sounds like like the regular globetrot.
Thank you.
Like it's so sad to hear this guy who has a problem with a lot of the mainstream stories that are put out there, and to hear him just hand wave dismiss the whole thing. Oh, just stand on the cliff and you see the ship. Like really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this that was sad.
He used like elementary monkey molesting moronic rhetoric, like something that you would not expect from a man with gray hair in his 60s or 70s who is a conspiracy theorist. That, like you said, Chocolate. He said, I could see if he said some other things that I've heard from the panels that the guests we've had, but he said the most basic, childlike, elementary thing on a platform, thinking that he actually has made a point with arrogance.
Still
You're not giving him any
more,
credit.
Adam.
On screen
You're not
right
giving him
now,
any credit for
Hold on, let's hear Adam.
Adam, is there more? Oh, okay, sorry.
This was just the concluding point, because obviously he's a very learned man and he's got a lot of knowledge in terms of ancient history and hidden civilizations, something that, he speaks well on. I found it very interesting, and that's what I was watching this on. It's ancient map stuff. That's what I was watching it. But when I came to this point, I found it very interesting that the way he portrays what he calculates, what he measures from reality. Look what he's done here to demonstrate it to us, his thoughts. He's got half a dingleberry, and he's put everything on a flat plane, look. And I know he's taking it to hell, but this is the Sphinx and the pyramid. This flat plane measurements that he's got everything on that's mapped out is a flat plane. He's had to strap it to a ball. Try and put those cardinal points on his ball and see if any of it makes sense. It all falls apart. It's interesting, like I said, that he chose to demonstrate his points and he couldn't use his ball to demonstrate it.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to point out something right quick. Is he said, "What would it matter, if it was flat? Why would you bring it up if it didn't matter to you?"
Yeah,
it obviously mattered.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that, Refractive.
Yeah,
thank you.
It obviously.
Just in the video, though, I would say I like the way Mike's mate just laughed. Tyson just sat back, like I said, had a jelly bean. He's not going to beat you up. He's confident. He knows it's flat.
Wait, did he respond to him at all, or because we only saw the one with Jim Jones? I never saw this interview.
No,
the laugh.
It carries on along what is an interview about with Graham Hancock. So it's just along that line, but it's just one. He's brought it up though, but Mike Tyson has got the book of his, on his coffee table, hasn't he? It's him. It's Mike's book, but Hancock's felt the need to bring it up, oppose it, and Tyson's not bit. He's just gone,
Hancock is hoping people listen to him because he's got a PhD and I don't know what he has, but well known, blah blah blah, and he's out in public. People would see him as an academic. So people should listen to him because he knows it's a board. And that's how I saw that. It's just this desperate attempt, absolutely pathetic. Which is, I always thought the guy was pathetic anyway, to be honest. But this desperate, pathetic attempt is just like you got nothing. You know what I mean? Sorry.
So Brian, so let's do a rate. Let's do like it might be a non sequitur, it may be a fallacy equivalent comparison, but so that means that a hooker that gives a great head job can be a urologist.
No, please don't.
I'm just saying.
So just to bring it back, if you look on screen now, this is how I found this clip just searching. So this is just one of his shorts. 14,000 comments on this video, just on the shorts, where Graham Hancock loses all credibility. Pretty weak argument there, Mr. Hancock. Yeah, goes on. He mentions the Egyptians, but the Egyptians have drawn pictures of a flat earth from the firmament dome. It's called the vanishing point, not curvature. Just goes on. 14.
Holy. And they claim that somebody made the claim that the reason that they're going to censor TikTok is because you can look at they've gotten control of the NASA live stream on YouTube. Because remember, in 2015, it was a completely different internet. Okay, where you go on YouTube, find whatever you want. You'd have the politicians were trying to win people over with their tactics without just like overtly shutting them down. But it wasn't working because people could go into the comments section and go, that's full of BS. Here's my dissertation. Here's the information. Here's the link to the source of what you were talking about, and you're a liar. And so now we have a YouTube where the comment section can just be turned off. Or if you make a comment, they could just hide your comment without you knowing so that nobody else engages with it.
Yep.
And they don't, in the NASA live stream, there's a whole bunch of people going, oh, wow, beautiful. Meanwhile, on TikTok, they're like, fake, CGI, boo. You can't have that.
TikTok will change. TikTok will fall in line with everyone else eventually.
I mean, I'm still perturbed that this guy, Graham Hancock, was running around writing books, supposedly so knowledgeable, and he might as well have got up there and said, just climb a tree, guys. Climb a tree, you see curve, boats go over curve. Like, that quote from this dude just freaking irked me. I don't know why. It was just hard to hear from this guy. Even though I know he's a mainstream, bobblehead, it's like, what the hell, man? That's what you got? That's where your intellect goes when you're... Sorry. I'm sorry, I'm ranting.
It's definitely a globe chocolate.
Yeah, and I get that. All his little stories, to him, none of them would matter if it wasn't on a ball, because we have to be a ball in space. Right? Like he said.
Chocolate.
Yeah,
Check it out. Check it out, Chocolate. Can we... Let's think honestly. Did he say
understand where you come. If I can get a word in here, just for a second, guys.
Go ahead,
Just
Jim.
for a second. Yeah, cheers, man. I was just going to say, Chocolate, I understand your position clearly, because you're feeling, is that your argument? It shows you how weak the heliocentric model is. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
Correct, Gene. That's what I was going to say. He is a very well-educated and intelligent man. He's obviously got no reading in this, and when he decided to give his rebuttal, what did he go to? What was his truth of a ball of...
Google search answer.
What I was going to say was, did he really say anything so profoundly amateur compared to what the other ones who consider themselves the astrophysicists say? They say the same thing. They say pretty much the same thing.
Here's the sad thing. When my brother first told me about it, I Googled it. That's the first thing that comes up. Climb up a tree. So what, did he freaking Google it and just come out with the first thing that he saw?
Climb up a tree. That was the advice
I
I
got it. I
No,
sense Adam had a conclusion he was trying to make.
Okay.
Adam?
Just for correction, he didn't say climb a tree. What I said was he might as well have said that, because what he said was go up a really high cliff and just look at the boat go over the curvature, right?
Yeah,
so it might as well be climb a tree, get higher, and look curve, right?
Right.
Just to clear that up. Go ahead, Adam.
He cited bottom up disappearance, but you'll see the funnel first, and then it'll come out. That was his go-to proof.
You know what though? Hold on. The whole thing with the climate tree is a trip. How about do this? Every glober out there, lay down on your stomach, face down, sideways, looking down at the floor that you know is a flat floor, say in your hallway of your building, or depending on the size of your room. And then I want you to get up on a push-up position. And then you'll notice that you see more of the floor. Then I want you to get up on your knees and you'll see even more of the floor. Then I want you to stand up and you'll even see more of the floor. Does that mean that the fucking hallway, excuse my language, no cursing, the hallway or
the floor is curved?
Is curved? Huh, stupid? Think of it that. Go to zero. Lay down flat, side face, like the way you've been in the position when a cop says, flat on your face. Do that. And then get up slowly. You're going to see the same thing. That's what I'm saying. You speak monkey molesting moron rhetoric.
So what they'll come back to you with is a measurement of a perspective size of something and claim Uncut.
Yes.
Regardless, it's Earth curve, isn't it? I mean, Black Swan. If Earth's a sphere radius 39, 59 every distance to the horizon, they're claiming. And when they say raise up in a tree or raise up in elevation or go up the Empire State, they're just saying Earth curve obstruction at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet without saying it. It's putting that extra little step between their claim. And when they say horizon will block boat or building, funnel appear first, okay, what you're describing is your geometric limitation. But the chances are that this idiot doesn't even know that. But they know the example that's given. So the example detaches you from a reality-based observation and makes an inference that you've got a physical geometric sphere edge, and they won't call it that. They'll just say the horizon. Like, no. You're saying it's Earth curve, a physical geometric limitation to your view at set maths. We debunked it in 2020. Black Swan. We can show things beyond the limitations of a sphere edge. Radius, based on a radius value 3959 at observer height 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, I should say. We can show you how we can defy that. Black Swan. But to some amateur, which is what this guy is in this particular subject field, and that's, I think, Adam's objection, right? This guy's not stupid, but because he doesn't feel it's necessary to look into this subject, he can fall back on his old crappy rhetoric that he got from his high school education in the subject. Because why would he need to? We've already figured this out, right? It's back to, this is the kind of person that would shut you down on the basis that, why would we even be having the discussion? Let me just tell you what your flat earth belief is, so we've got a few ground rules for the engagement of discussion on it. And I'll just parrot off what I know based on what I've been told in school, because I didn't need to do any more than that. I already know it's a globe.
Yeah, but this guy has a little, just very quickly, Eli, this guy has a little belief in, aliens coming from Zeta Reticuli and things like that. That requires a globe for him.
No, he doesn't believe that. No, so to contextualize it,
come on, man. He said real quick.
Oh, carry on without the contextualization, but okay.
Okay, contextualize it as we get further, because by the time I get around, it's not gonna matter.
Go ahead, Eli.
Yeah, but we need to hear what the guy believes in.
Don't make him a martyr. Go ahead, Eli.
Kill me. No. Yeah, no, it was just basically affirming the consequence, because obviously the context and the conversation is about the globe. And he says, well, it's not flat. Just look at the horizon. So yeah, textbook affirming the consequence. Or maybe begging the question, maybe both.
So the reason he's cited it is in defense. He's defending himself. He's just gone through a bit how he's being called a white supremacist. Reason being that people won't engage with his work. It's easier to attack the man. And what he's dragging flat Earth in there for is this is another conspiracy theory, like aliens, that they try to link me with. I don't need aliens. I don't need flat Earth. This is part of what he's saying there. My work stands on its own. So in an ignorant way, he's just ill-informed, thinking that just like aliens, like ancient aliens, which he's not part of, flat Earth, he could be lumped with flat earthers to discredit his actual genuine work. That's how he's viewing flat Earth, and the way he gets rid of it is as cited, as he's just done. Because I'd say I don't think he's ignorant. It's not part of his worldview. It's just another conspiracy in a box that can be used to decry his serious academic history work.
And his academic history work, how many thousands of years does that go back? And I've heard him on things in the past that are connected to aliens and all this stuff.
No, we would. I think Graham Hancock relates more to us doing it ourselves. We don't need, yeah. Now he would still put 10, 20, 30, 60,000 year cycles in, but he's not. He doesn't invoke aliens, as far as I'm aware. Hancock.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Mike Tyson said, "Oh, really? Did you know that the horizon formula for the distance is 1.2 times the square root of the observed height?"
Oh shoot!
How awesome would that be? Yo,
that would be great.
Well, I wonder if the guy knows that he can't assert the horizon as any evidence of Earth curve without level being a horizontal plane to reference.
Oh dear.
We need to get on Mike's. Look, listen. This how you do.
I was just gonna say.
I'm not gonna get on his show, but you know, there's that after show stuff that happens that never gets aired. The stuff that gets clipped. If I could just weasel my way into being his cameraman or like somebody in the background that provides good clips for the show, like yo, we need to get in these spaces and go, yo, Mike. You know what you should have said? Like, yo, we could be doing so much more.
To be fair,
send him in the chat. Send him a message.
You don't need to be fetching him coffee. As we said earlier, he's had bad financial advice in the past. Maybe you could go and have a word with him on that. Yeah, that would be relevant, Neil.
I thought you were going to tell him schedule a fight like Jake Paul. I forgot Eli's into finances. Yeah, that would work.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That makes sense. I see what you're saying. Yo, hey, Mike, let me talk to you about your retirement plan. Anyway, check this out. Remember that dude said?
Are you just asking, how are you going to invest this money after you batter Jake Paul?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm glad you said that, Adam, because they're all thinking that Mike Tyson's too old and he's going to get hurt.
We'll get back to that, but I'd be like, yeah, Mike Tyson, yo, you go pulverize Jake Paul. Speaking of Jake Paul, hey, remember when that guy came on you?
Mike Tyson and Jake Paul are friends. Mike Tyson and Jake Paul are friends.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Till they go in the ring.
So we're Rocky and Apollo.
See, but it's all just like we've gotten to the point where we know that basketball is scripted. At one point, it may have been everything that's beautiful. Is like what we do individually with just with our ingenuity and our imaginations. It's like the mainstream sits back, takes all the main points, and then recreates that inorganically. Because you can't tell me that football or basketball is the same now as it is before. As a matter of fact, some people, this could be like sports conspiracy theories, but like you watch these videos and there are some players doing some really sketchy stuff, and referees sketchily not seeing things that are right in front of their face. I mean, I know when something's going on and it's like a lot of adrenaline, you tend to miss things, but I'm just saying, like the way the game is played and the rules, like it makes it really boring because they're not like really applied in the way that you think would be fair. Like,
but it wasn't like that
it's a
nowadays
conspiracy.
because there's much more money involved. So now you have the fixes. In the 70s, it wasn't like that.
I'm not saying it's a conspiracy.
All right, I'm back.
What they are is they both support a fighters union for MMA fighters and boxers. And they're trying to get health care for the guys like Muhammad Ali, who got really messed up from boxing, but had to spend his own money to take care of himself, even though he made other people insanely rich. That's what Jake Paul's doing. He's not a bad kid.
Nah, he's not a bad kid.
No, I don't think he's a bad kid either in this regard. Hold on, I'm just going to get my two-penny with him.
Okay.
First of all, can we stop comparing these people to fictional characters, right? There's no comparison. Please stop doing it. That's the first thing. And the second thing, in respect to Jake, I don't like the circumstances.
I compared him to Stone Cold Steve Austin and
my
NBA
bad.
players. What are you talking about?
My bad. Yeah, I've got nothing against Jake Paul per se. I'm sure there's plenty that people have or can have against him. However, it's the circumstance of the decorated hero versus the new upcomer. It just seems so wrong. Now, as I said in the live show, don't decry Jake Paul taking advantage of the circumstance he finds himself in, and this is what you would do if you were him. So you kind of can't have a go at him. But by the same token, I just think the circumstance of, like I say, the older, proven warrior having to prove his salt. He's already proved it, and he's moved on. He's older now. It just all seems wrong.
He's not doing that. Mike Tyson is supporting him by fighting him.
Yeah,
he's doing that to give Jake Paul credibility.
Exactly. Or I don't know the inside scoop. Or it could be where Tyson may think that he has disgraced the game, or the populace have disgraced the game by giving him the credit just for less than 2 handfuls of fights and calling him really pound for pound heavyweight fighter, and might have said, that's what I looked at it like, okay, so maybe Mike's going in there either to incentivize him, Jake, in some kind of way, monetarily or popularity, whatever it is, or Mike may look at it like, I'm tired of hearing people talk about him. He hasn't been through the sweat and tears like we did. I respect the sport. I bowed out of it because I realized that, I couldn't do it anymore. And this guy's up here making himself popular and everybody's getting all this glory. And could he be going in there to teach the young man a lesson? Will he go in there and teach the young man a lesson? We don't know. But I just hope it is not the Roy Jones, Mike Tyson fight I saw about 8-9 years ago. That was like, it was rude. No hitting above the neck and no hitting below the belt. It was basically a body blow exhibition, boring ass fight. I hope it is a toe for toe. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if Jake goes toe for toe or gets up against some ropes and lets Tyson make contact, he's gonna get hurt. He better evade. He better box. He better jab, move, sidestep, and stay out of Mike's uppercut and his
ain't gonna make a difference.
Yeah, but in reality, that all of that is true. If Jake Paul can't hit him. If Jake Paul hits him, like, how good is his ability to resist good punches?
That's a good point. No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
He's not fucking. He's never been Floyd Mayweather. He's gonna get hit. That's a good point.
Yeah,
but he's a boxer. He knows how to take a shot. Roberto Duran was the best at going with the punch.
I'm sure 8-year-olds know how to backflip. That don't mean that they can.
Thank you. Exactly. Neil, you're going overboard. This is a 60-year-old man almost who has been out of the game, hasn't felt that contact. Why don't you just throw some of these football players out there if you think that way? Throw them back in there and see if they can.
My point is it doesn't matter who wins, whether it's Jake Paul or Mike Tyson. The point of it is that people are talking about it, and the cause that they both represent will benefit. Either way, Jake Paul wins.
Yeah, we get it.
Refractive, do you think Jake Paul wins if Mike Tyson does a humiliating knockout and really makes him look like the way Mike used to make his opponents look, where they couldn't realize what corner they were from? Do you think that'll be I mean, social media wise, because that's what Jake lives on, social media.
It's not gonna happen because they've been given rules as to what is
yeah, as
not
far as
gonna
I'm
happen and
concerned,
what is
yeah,
gonna. They're gonna make it a
Mike
good
Tyson. Hang on, can
entertainment.
I get my words in, please?
Well, yeah, I was
Oh,
talking
can't get a
first though,
word in.
so maybe you can wait. But
Well, I
go
just
on.
respond to that. He's already won. We're talking about it now. He's already won. It doesn't matter what Mike Tyson does to him now.
Go on, Jen. Go on, Jen.
By the way, what's up, Jen? Been a
Yeah,
while,
thanks
man.
for that. Sorry, I clashed with your bad timing on my part there. Sorry about that. I was just going to say, I think the brother that was saying Mike Tyson has always got that potential to knock that guy out. That punch is always there. So we cannot write off Mike Tyson as somebody who's a has-been. He's there. He's a brave man for going in at his age. I think he's got some personal battle within himself there. He just wants to prove to himself, for all we know. The thing is, he's good for boxing. Both people are winners. The fans of Tyson are there rooting for him. The young blood, he's got to be careful. Every second he's standing in front of Mike Tyson. He's got to be careful. That's how it is. He's a monster. Let's not write him off. Sorry about that, Chocolate. My mistake.
Who's Eli? But
Well
fine.
said, Jen.
That was
Well
Eli.
said.
No, listen. You know what? You know what Mike Tyson's got to work on. I heard Eli say something earlier. He said he's never been with Floyd Mayweather. His bobbing and weaving is second to none. His bobbing and weaving was second to none. That's why he was so good in the heavyweights. The heavyweights couldn't hit him because he was bobbing and weaving like mad.
And he's still bobbing and weaving.
Work on. Yeah,
he's still bobbing and weaving, Brian.
Yeah, that's what I say. He'll work on. He'll work on that like mad. Just work on bobbing and weaving and just become fast. Because that's why there's not, like the thing about it is there's only so much road running he can do at his age. You know, all these kind of things. So he's better off putting his energy into things that are going to be practical. You know, as opposed to trying to build up his conditioning,
right,
and doing in his knees. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah. Because I know y'all seen the short clips of his training, right? There's not just one going on, there's about 3 of them. And he is bobbing and weaving, and he is knocking his trainer backwards by hand blows to those pads. And he's coming in, and with the bob and the weave, and he's hitting. Only the gloves can tell how hard he's hitting in them trainers. But if I saw it, and I was now he's not coming back like Foreman. He would not be able to last. But for this fight here, if he's even as in shape as what he was when he last fought, or as in shape as Jake needs not to stand in front of him and go toe to toe. I'm just saying.
Unless it's all staged and we're all over here overanalyzing it.
Yeah, that's what I said, Neil. I hope it's not like.
There's a good chance of that. I don't know. I don't know if Mike Tyson will get involved in that. Don't know if he'd get involved in the stage event. Don't know if he'd do that. He looks.
That's what I'm hoping. He's got too much integrity for that.
Brian, did you see the Roy Jones versus Tyson fight a few years ago?
Yeah, but that was totally different. You're talking about a different Mike Tyson back then. That was 8 years ago. He wasn't training like he is now. He didn't go through certain things that he's gone through. Go watch the video about how he's crying because he became this humble man and he doesn't even know what to do anymore. He wants to be a gladiator.
That's why I'm so emotional, because when I was in the ring, I was feared. I was, yeah.
Yes,
I love that clip. I love that clip.
Right. But the reason he's upset in that is because now he's fighting for a cause. He's not fighting for money. He's not fighting for any of that. What we're talking about is relevant to what his actual cause is that he wants the people that were in his situation to be taken care of when they're hurt. That's what he's fighting for.
Where did you hear this? I didn't hear that.
I think that makes him more dangerous too.
That's beautiful. You know, these people, yo, in all honesty, like, these people should have, you know, a financial advisor who can set aside funds for the potential possibility that they're going to need, you know, healthcare, or any kind of situation where, you know, because none of this should be happening. Athletes, shouldn't get hurt and just tossed to the wayside because they're no longer entertainment. So I totally, Mike is the greatest, man, and Jake Paul is cool.
Question: Is there any
on
more
a
to
light,
the
humorous moment?
Chocolate, then gin.
So if
Go
I
ahead.
just add a light.
Hold on 1 second, gin.
Sorry, I was just
Go
going
ahead,
to add a light humour
He
to the
won't
Mike
listen.
Tyson thing.
Chocolate, then gin.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Jen. By the way, it's good to hear you, brother. No, I was just curious if there's any more to the Graham Hancock and Mike Tyson conversation pertaining to flat Earth, or was that kind of it? It was just like climb a high cliff and look at the curve and great. Was that really it, or?
Yeah, he wasn't addressing flat Earth. He felt the need to make the statement, didn't he? It's not flat. Yeah, and here's why.
Right.
But the reason he was disassociating himself from that conspiracy and aliens and other bits. Like I said, it was talking about that's how people used to attack him, by saying, "Oh, he's also a flat earther," and he's saying he's not. But then the conversation just moves on back to what he's about. The point I was raising was look at his justification for why he knows it's a ball. A very educated, intelligent man.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what the horizon is within his own paradigm, because he's under the same illusion that it's this physical geometric edge that boats go over. He's still, you know what I mean? That's the problem.
And not only that,
what year is it again? What year is it again? Because
it's 2024, man. I mean, what's going on there, Graham Hancock?
And guys, check this out. And what makes it even worse is that his whole premise, his whole president point is to even equate maybe because he hasn't been here, but we're not talking about the Feast of Nonsense people. That's who he's trying to address out there as flat Earth believers, because you can't even put the measurements, the celestial navigational proof, all of the factual, tangible, visual evidence, empirical evidence to put flat Earth, the real flat Earth, in a conspiracy theory bracket. So right there, for him to say, I disassociate myself with those conspiracy theories and aliens, to even put that in the same folder makes you an arrogant ignoramus.
You know what's crazy? You can, like, in celestial navigation, since flat and level is synonymous, you can just say we use the Earth as a level tool to establish elevation angles. It means the same exact thing.
Exactly.
So what are they going to do? Argue with the word level? Well, you got then. Yeah, they actually let me make that point at Geo's, by the way. I stole John's argument about level.
But Elijah,
not being able to define it in a globe paradigm. Like they can't even define what it is.
But what's sad is that there's people like Bev, a lot of people, even in the call themselves so-called whatever, anti-globers, that try to, what's the word y'all use? They try to, I guess, poison the lake of the term, the definition, the denoted definition of level.
Well, level and flat are synonymous in the context that we're talking about orientation.
It is. No matter whether you're a carpenter, whether you're a carpenter, whether you're a landscaper, whether you're a navigator, aerial or, nautical, whatever. But I'm saying, they still try to say, well, that's not the same level. We've heard it.
Oh, well, the only place that the definition of the word level changes is in this particular conversation. Like all those industries
That's
sorry
not
if I'm wrong, correct me.
That's not entirely true, because they utilize level as a horizontal plane to get dip correction to form a sphere, or they use level as a horizontal plane to get angle measurements to form a radius to begin with. They can't deny it. It's in their math. It sticks out like a sore thumb when you see it.
I'm sorry, was level used in definitionally twice or two ways in those two examples?
Well, no,
In any of those examples, was level not having something higher or not higher or lower at any other end? Like,
well, they have a Mott and Bailey, which is a equivocation. So they'll say that level is curved, and the way they try to prove it is with the Mott, which is basically to reiterate our point about needing a horizontal plane of reference. And they say no, that's not exactly true. And then they just make this claim that level isn't how we define it, and then they go on to actually use level as we define it.
They're all over the place. I mean, level is even in the phoropter. The phoropter that I use when I have to refract people for their glasses. Once you put that phoropter in front of their face, in order to get the proper refraction, which deals with cylinder and spherical, you know what I'm saying? You have to level the phoropter, even if they have offset eyes. You know, even if their eyes, even if the right eye may be 1 or 2 millimeters difference, you know, because nobody's face is perfect. Still, you have to level the phoropter. Otherwise, if you don't, the glasses will be wrong because you take off you'll mess up the axis, the cylindrical and the spherical measurements of the refraction of the light when you're trying to make the glasses. So level is everywhere. You have to do level. You have to level everything in life. Period.
Right.
And they know
level
I
has to be a
disagree
horizontal.
with one thing. My face is perfect.
Have you?
I thought Nathan was
You
going to say
broke all
that.
your mirrors. You ain't got no mirrors.
I beat Nathan to it. I knew he was going to say it, so I had to beat him to it.
I was going to say, did anyone say? Adam Meakin would disagree. I was going to say for that.
Yeah, well, my a dentist that I got a consultation from said that I had the perfect symmetry of a Greek god. So
he was gay.
Nice, Eli.
Yeah, probably was.
Okay, guys.
Probably was.
If I may just have a few moments.
So that means he knows what he's
Sorry, I was
talking about.
earlier. Yes,
Go ahead, Jin.
earlier on, I was going to
Hold on one
offer up.
sec. Go ahead, Jin.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, Eli and Chocolate. Sorry for the name mix-up. Great to hear your voices. And I was going to offer up a new attire, boxing attire for Mike Tyson, one to confuse his opponent, and it would be reading Mike the Flat Earth Tyson, and on his gloves would be the Gleason's map on each glove with flat Earth, and on his shorts, flat Earth with the Gleason's map. That would be his announcement, and that would be his attire. You know, with his punching stance. Can you imagine that? With the Gleason's map. Yeah, man. Go for it.
You do realise that Eli and Chocolate both went about 10 minutes ago, and now it's D, Rose, and John that are actually in there. Just thought I'd let you know that.
Oh, thanks very much. I wasn't aware of that. Thanks. Yeah, sorry.
You think Tyson's going to knock his opponent curved?
No, he's going to knock his opponent flat on his ass.
But
same difference, apparently.
Now, when you say flat, do you mean flat on the ground or flat against the ropes?
Hit him with a wall, Chocolate.
Flat on the ground because the ropes bend.
Well, if you don't say ropes, then you don't have that
Too
frame
much
of
curvature
reference
on the rope.
to change the meaning. If you don't say, if you don't say ropes, you can't change the meaning of the word flat.
Tell him again, Nathan.
Hit him with a wall, Chocolate.
You guys are so adorable now. You're doing it together. Oh, it's cute.
Would that wall be flat?
Took me about 2
curved?
minutes. Took me about 2 minutes to figure out what the hell he was talking about. What do you mean hit him with the wall? What wall? Why would he be hitting him with it? This makes no sense.
Neither
I don't know,
does
Neil.
climbing up a mountain.
You might have to ask QE that question.
I wanna. I see. On one hand, I wonder why. Listen, I always say the purpose for what we kind of take on as entertainment is the propaganda that fails us as people. Because look at the stuff that's going on with Diddy. I'm not going to get into it because I don't think we could talk about that like on a recording. But Diddy's been doing what he's been doing for 20 plus years.
That's correct.
The same thing with Quiet on the Set with Dan Schneider and all blah blah blah. We're not going to get into it. And my initial thought when I was let's just go to Nickelodeon real quick. I know I'm jumping back and forth. My initial thought, because I used to watch those shows into adulthood, and I used to think, who's writing this stuff for these children? Why are there these like, innuendos and just like really questionable things? And everyone that's producing this, the people that bring the sandwiches, the camera people, the position, whatever they do, no one said anything. So it's the same thing with this Diddy thing. It's like, yo, so it took one dude in 20, goddamn, it took one dude in 2022 to say what he said and do all the things that he did for the P. Diddy to go down. And I'm like, well, that was 2022. And you basically, with just this one person, kind of wrapped up everything that Diddy and his family and compadres have done wrong. I'm like, couldn't you guys have all done that 10 years ago? Oh, is it that everyone in the situation and around the situation just didn't have the balls to stand on just speaking the truth because they were afraid? I think people are afraid to have this discussion because if I'm afraid to have this discussion with friends because I just don't want to be annoyed, like imagine the people that are like, pay your bills.
Could I try to steal, man, what you're saying? Are you saying that there's people out there who've known for a long time that this is not a globe, but they haven't been willing to come forward? People who are in positions that would be listened to.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a parable? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, because that's what they say, like with I gotta get that
Eli. I say more with the Diddy situation is the ones that didn't come forward are the ones that were allegedly culpable. Okay, or had some type of repercussions and consequences to face in some
J-Lo
kind of
didn't
way.
say a damn thing with her fake self. All these and didn't say nothing. Come on, like no. All of y'all knew what was going down. There's these parties. There's these pictures, text messages. They got everything: pictures, video, text messages. All of those people in that environment. Everyone knew that there was everything illegal going on.
You heard what Denzel tells the young actors, right? Leave the party early.
Yep.
Yeah. He's dead.
Denzel never gets caught out there. He tells him, leave the party before 10 o'clock.
Hey.
After that, you're dead.
To allude to what Neil had said when he was asking me about the group that I was in and everything. I could have been the lead singer of a group, couple of groups. Okay. That is the reason why, Eli, why I didn't take the leap of faith into the business. I pretty much knew about the business through the elders that I knew prior to, and they kind of warned me, but they warned me more about the publishing issues and, having your stuff copywritten. But as I spoke to other cats, as I got deep into it, who were like the managerial and attorney-wise, and they basically, left it out there for me to speculate. And I kind of knew it, but I didn't see it because I never got my chance. I never got that deep indulge in it, but I knew that it was there. That's why I didn't take that path.
Same for me, man. It's the same thing for me. I was supposed to perform in Clive Davis' living room. Why am I going to your house to perform in your living room?
And he would have tried to rape you.
No, well, I don't even want to say. Like the bottom line is, these people Like it's not about business. The first thing I guess that's genuinely what you want to do in business anyway. You want to make friends, you want to get comfortable, build relationships, but it's through this relationship building, you've accepted all these gifts, we're flying, doing this, that, and the third, and now you go to, hey, let's go to this party. You go to a
You're in
party,
debt.
some stuff's going on, and next thing you know, maybe you weren't a part of something crazy, but you knew you did a little stuff, something at the party, and but you weren't around for everything. You heard stuff, and you're like, I don't know, dude's super nice. There's no way. And then as time goes on, you see more and more, and there's just like, well, dang. If I say something about it, I haven't even been paid yet, and I'm under contract. So if I do say something, I'm not getting paid. By the way, Diddy tried not to pay this dude. I forget what his name is. Tried to pay him $29,000 for a year's worth of work when a lot of the stuff that he produced made it onto Diddy's new album.
Right.
And he's like, just pay me $50,000. And Diddy was like, kick rocks.
Yep.
After all the stuff Diddy did to him while he was working and, living with Diddy here and there for a month, working on this project, he had to choose like, okay, well, a guy gropes me here and there, but nothing real. Like, I'm just gonna be like, yo, stop. That's crazy. I've done the same thing where I've been in situations and I'm like, well, that dude is just like that. And I'm just gonna, be dominant within my own space and say, yo, don't do that. But I can see how I would feel a way about telling someone no after I've accepted all of their gifts and stuff. Like, it's obviously.
Well, this is what it is. It's basically the same thing women have been going through for the longest. It's now just that, it's gotten to the point where it's always been happening both ways, but the male on male and male on boy is just more free thanks to the legislation and thanks to society being more acceptable to this type of lifestyle. And basically it's extortion. It's like, that's why Cat Williams tried to tell you. There's another guy that used to be with Master P Miller's joint. He said there were cases where they want you to sign, and you may be kind of skeptical about signing, and they'll befriend you. It's called befriend, embrace, and devour. Bed, take you to bed, and what they'll do is then they'll get you high, bring a girl. You may think it's a girl, but it's probably some trans. You don't even know because you're so zooted. And then
Hey,
they'll perform certain things.
we're getting dangerously close to breaking the YouTube rules right now. So I'm going to enforce a subject change soon.
They put it on.
Hello. You're getting dangerously close to breaching some rules. Just so you know.
Okay. All right. I won't say those things no more. But they'll film it, and then when the next day for business to be taken care of, it's the extortion. Now, you do have a decision. You can decide on them revealing you like that and humiliating you, making no one want to work for you anymore, or putting a tag on you, or you sign it, keep it in between confidentiality, NDA, whatever you sign, whatever, and then you take it to your grave. Or you do like this guy and you say, you know what, I'm going to be a whistleblower.
Especially when it comes to, like imagine how, like it's expressed how uncomfortable it was for him, and he's a grown man now. In that 73-page PDF, the document, the court documents, like he also how do I say this? Substance. He put controlled substances, unbeknownst to certain guests, in drinks. Also, alcoholic beverages to minors under 16 years old, by the way, which is what the paper says. And it's like, at that point, I'm looking at everyone around like, how did any of you let that go on? How?
Right.
But when you think about the Justin Biebers, or you think about the young ushers that he's worked with, remember, this dude who's a grown man who only lived with him for a month or so, like, found it hard to tell him no. Imagine you're a child who comes from poverty that doesn't have anything.
Yep.
What are they supposed to say? What are they supposed to do?
Well, you know what's funny? You know what's funny, Eli? People now who
Shoot him in the head.
Here you go. People now that I told 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, because I'm going to tell you, I grew up with Christopher Williams. I grew up with Albie Shaw, Kyle West. I grew up with Heavy D, rest in peace. I was there. I'm on a video right now where TV One, when they talk about hip hop, when they talk about the Fat Boys and everybody that came from it, they show my group singing in one of the most internationally known contest ever first made in New York, the Tin Pan Apple Rap and Dance Contest with Curtis Blow, Vic from Disco Fever, and Mr. Magic, rest in peace, where they judged it. This is a long story. This is what Crush Groove was made off of. I came from those pillars. I came from those times. So when people ask me, well, D, what are you doing? Why are you in ophthalmology? Why'd you go to the Navy? Blah, blah, blah. Now they understand where I was coming from. Now they understand why it wasn't really all that. And I still was able to do things behind the scenes without having to jeopardize my manhood, jeopardize my dignity, jeopardize my integrity. And I'm still respected. And to this day, cats know, you go up against me, you're going to have a hard battle when it comes to that microphone. Because I still kill it.
That's why Fitty don't mess with them. Fitty don't mess with any of them.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? So now they know why when they ask themselves, back then when they asked me in 90, in 2000, man, why you ain't out there? It'll come to fruition. Now they understand. I didn't want to be that grown man that had to either catch a case by killing someone or getting killed by resist. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how the business is. It is hell.
Okay.
It's literally hell.
But think about that.
I'm going to round out while we're dangerously close to the line rather than stepping over it. So with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to let Mike Tyson know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Hopefully, if he's a friendly, as we hope he is, he might even do a little response. You never know your luck. So let Mike Tyson know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!